the releases of the all-new Shredder's Revenge, the Last Ronin graphic novel, and now the Cowabunga collection, 2022 will go down in history as the most exciting year for TMNT fans since the release of the 1990 live-action movie. Konami's Cowabunga collection is a near-perfect revival of over 13 classic Ninja Turtles games that span the arcade, NES, Game Boy, Genesis, and Super Nintendo platforms. For those of us who grew up in the 80s, there isn't a single childhood-defining game missing from this collection. Each title has been lovingly crafted with all the typical retro collection quality of life features and then some. Screen filters, save states, and rewind options are all present and accounted for. The standout feature is a unique auto mode where the game plays itself until you decide to jump in and take the controls. Throw in the ability to fast forward, and the autoplay mode serves as a living strategy guide and stage select, all rolled into one. Trust me, this feature is more fascinating and useful than it sounds. Multiplayer for applicable games remains intact, and online play has been added for a diverse set of 4. The 2 TMNT arcade games, Hyperstone Heist and Tournament Fighters, the vastly superior SNES version, thankfully. Some gamers might be disappointed that not all the multiplayer games are playable online, and that's understandable. Everyone has their favorites, and it would have been nice to relive the good old days with childhood friends who are no longer close enough to drop by for couch co-op sessions. When it comes to bonus features, the Turtles Lair Art Collection goes above and beyond, featuring not only the obligatory behind-the-scenes artwork, but also box art and instruction manuals, classic advertisements, and iconic comic book covers. However, the most practical part of the collection are the mini strategy guides written from scratch, and they are exclusively for this collection, complete with interactive video content. When it comes to flaws, the Cowabunga collection only has a few anchovies on top its proverbial pizza. Let's face it, some of the older, lower fidelity games won't earn new fans. However, nostalgia hounds like me will be grateful to have them, if only for brief retreats into our childhood and the fond multiplayer memories that we've associated with these games. Arguably, the original TMNT arcade game, the arcade and SNES versions of Turtle in Time, Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis, and the SNES version of Tournament Fighters, and all the bonus content are enough to justify the game's price tag. The remaining games are icing on the nostalgia-filled cake. I experienced a few bugs with some of the Turtles Lair content. Blurred out strategy guides that need to be reloaded, for example. Additionally, the UI, particularly the options menus, could have been arranged in a more consolidated and efficient manner. But seriously, you have to dig deep to find any real flaws with this collection of classics. This is the finest classic compilation I've experienced in years. A true high watermark for future collections to aspire to. If you are a Turtles fan in the slightest, especially if you're in your late 30s to early 40s, you owe it to yourself to pick this game up and ensure that its historic content never slips from your grasp again. We're going to give TMNT, the Cowabunga collection, a 9 out of 10. This review, of course, was written by the illustrious Anton G. and spoke to the public by yours truly, Mike Will. However, these next thoughts are my own and come from some additional research. We call this the addendum. Anyway, so in the addendum, what we are going to talk about is some of the, I'm not going to say faults with the game, but I want to let you guys know, if you're hardcore Turtles fans, there are a few things you should keep in mind. Firstly, and this is super nitpicky, and when I say Turtles fans, most people that casually play these games will not care about this as much. But the original Turtles arcade game actually had a completely different score than what was selected here. And honestly, they kind of did a cover of the score, and it sounds fine. You can hear it for yourself. I'm not going to play any of that music. I'm only playing music from the trailers, really. And I do have some clips, and I'm kind of worried about those, but we're going to play it very low and just hope, I don't know. But, you know, that's the problem, is that this copyright, the person that owns this wants to be paid, and I understand, but, you know, he's taken away this original song, which it isn't that big of a deal, guys, though, honestly. The next one is a larger deal. The online play just isn't that good. I've tested it extensively. Now, the local co-op is great. I played that with my buddy Fred. Shouts to Fred. He visited, we did some videos, but he played that with me, and it was great one-on-one in person. I mean, it's very flawless. When you get online, it's a completely different story, and that's to be expected, given it's a 2D game. Most 2D games online don't play very well, and I believe it's because they're using the original, not the original source code, but the emulation. So technically the original source code, they aren't using that. They're emulating it and then trying to make it multiplayer, which, if they coded it from the bottom up, see Shredder's Revenge. If you guys have played Shredder's Revenge online, it has had its own problems, but it's largely a much better experience because it's a modern game designed from the ground up. Another interesting factor is they did include rollback netcode for TMNT tournament fighters, both the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo versions, which, they really didn't need to do both, but I did test it, and yes, it is better than the other TMNT games that are online in the collection, but for being something that should really be excellent online, it's just not, and it comes back to that being an emulated game. You put rollback netcode in an emulated game, it's still not going to perform like something that you built from the ground up. But what did you think of our review? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope y'all having a great day. That review was written by the illustrious Anthony Griffin and put into video form by me. CrimeSight, an enjoyable yet lacking mystery simulation. In the year 2075, the proliferation of online data has made it possible for an analytical program, Foresight AI, to predict crime. This reduced criminal activity by 90% around the globe. However, one day, the system predicts a crime that, if allowed to occur, could plunge the world into chaos. This discovery prompted the creation of Sherlock, an AI with the sole purpose of discovering and preventing this apocalyptic crime before it occurs. Welcome to the world of Konami's CrimeSight, a unique mystery simulation game that arrived on the scene as suddenly as the apocalyptic crime at the core of its narrative. As the player, your role is aid the Sherlock AI by solving clue-style whodunit mysteries to thwart the villainous AI Moriarty and his doomsday plan. Background and context. When I heard about CrimeSight, my initial reaction was one of surprise. Wow, Konami actually made something that isn't a mobile app, pachinko machine, or classics collection. Yes, CrimeSight is an original title from Konami, albeit a budget one with a $19.99 MSRP. Don't let the elaborate sci-fi setting fool you. Once you get past the game's slick presentation and jazzy music, you're left with something more akin to a game of chess than a grand narrative. Considering the game's price, however, CrimeSight is worth your consideration, as long as you prefer a dedicated multiplayer experience. The gameplay loop. CrimeSight's core gameplay loop consists of repeated multiplayer matches with varying parameters, maps, player counts, and so on. Let's get this out of the way from the start. CrimeSight is essentially a multiplayer-only game. Although there are a few single-player tutorial scenarios, these are not something you want to repeat unless you're struggling with the game's admittedly steep learning curve. So if you are looking for a single-player experience, you might as well skip this one. However, if you enjoy constantly engaging in a battle of wits with friends or random online adversaries, CrimeSight just may be worth the price of entry. Each match in CrimeSight replicates that classic murder mystery scenario where a group of strangers are trapped in a building during a snowstorm. It's up to you to either work with the Sherlock AI to discover and protect the victim, or collaborate with Moriarty to manipulate a pawn to murder the target. The whole thing feels like Minority Report meets Final Fantasy Tactics. You operate within a turn-based system, moving characters across a grid to either prevent or establish the conditions that will lead to murder. The whole experience is packed with simple yet well-designed visuals that are easy on the eyes. The user interface is intuitive, simple, and clear. It's unlikely that you'll forget how to execute any of the game's key commands. Even if you do, all of the controls are always visible along the bottom of the screen. Ultimately, CrimeSight is for those looking for a quick, hassle-free mental workout coated in slick, anime-style visuals and smooth music. A typical CrimeSight match lasts only about 15 minutes. Honestly, considering the budget nature of the game, and the fact that Konami is the publisher, I'm shocked that this isn't a mobile game. But anyway, I digress. The verdict. A unique, albeit repetitive game with one possible deal breaker. Overall, I enjoyed my time with CrimeSight. I've honestly never played anything quite like it, and I've been gaming since the early 80s. CrimeSight has a solid rule set that's fun to learn, despite some difficulty in doing so. With everything tied together with such slick presentation, CrimeSight can be hard to put down. However, once I completed all of the tutorial missions and started playing multiplayer matches, a sense of repetitiveness crept in. Sometimes, depending on how a match plays out, it felt like I wasn't doing much more than shuffling pawns around the map. Without a single-player campaign, CrimeSight will leave many gamers thirsting for more content. Additionally, I can't help but be concerned about the longevity of this game. As someone playing in Japan, I had no trouble finding multiplayer matches. However, all it takes is a quick look at Steam reviews to see that people in other regions are already struggling to find opponents across the web. If the player count is this low now, what does the future hold for CrimeSight? Still, considering the game's price and accessibility, CrimeSight is worth a look if you love puzzles, mysteries, and anime aesthetics. If you approach this game as you would something like chess or checkers, games that are infinitely repeatable with unpredictable outcomes by design, then you'll find something to love in CrimeSight. Just make sure that you get a couple of friends involved in the mystery to ensure that there will always be a Moriarty awaiting to challenge your Sherlock. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to review MLB 2022, the show for the Nintendo Switch. Stay tuned to the end to find out if the port is any good. So I participated in the open beta test for this game, and I have to say I was not impressed. It was pretty rough around the edges. It clearly hadn't been optimized as much as it could be for the Switch at that point. So I really wasn't interested. And then the game came up on the free trials, so, I figured, let's go ahead and try it out. And I will say, this is the very first time I have bought a game off of the game trial. Now, that's not because there isn't good games on the game trial, it's because I've owned most of the good ones, such as Stardew Valley, things like that. But what was really striking about this game was the difference in the graphics between beta and launch. I've never seen such a stark difference, and then that's why I had wrote this game off, because usually if the graphics are that bad in beta, it's not going to improve enough to really be shown, and maybe that was just a really early build. But I got this game on game trials, was super impressed. I bought it right before it went off sale, 2 hours before it went off sale for $30. So this game is $60 now. I don't know if it's worth $60 to everybody, but I just wanted to let you know that the port is amazing. I really enjoyed the show mode, which is like where you can start your character in the minor leagues and build up. That's really the only mode I've played. We're really just reviewing the port here, and the port is solid. The gameplay is great. I wouldn't say it's 60 FPS. It's 30, but for a baseball game, it works. The controls feel really responsive, so when you swing, you're swinging. You really have to watch the pitches come out of the pitcher's hand. You really have to get deep into counts. It's very, very realistic, especially in the show mode. Now, it isn't all perfect, however. The graphics, when you're like in the dugouts, in the bullpen, in like stuff like that, is really choppy because those are higher quality images. So you do get a little bit of choppiness here and there when it flashes the camera to the bullpen or the dugout. It does do a little bit of chopping around, but it doesn't affect the game that much. And really, if you're not paying attention to those little cutscenes in between the action, you really won't even notice. A lot of times I end up skipping that stuff, especially in the road to the show, because you're essentially playing all of your at-bats for a season, and that stuff gets old. Now, I didn't have a chance to try the multiplayer mode, as I'm still trying to learn how to play the game, so that did not happen, as somebody that was already playing would have really beat me bad. Eventually, I will try that. I will say that cross-play is enabled. It is a Sony Studios title. You can play it with PS5 people. You can play it with Series X people. I will say this makes me slightly sad that Sony won't bring more of its titles to the Switch, as they seem to be a very competent port producer. We are going to give MLB The Show for Nintendo Switch a 9 out of 10. If you are a baseball fan, I 100% recommend picking this up, even at $59.99. Otherwise, maybe wait for a sale if you're a little bit more of a casual. But I hope you all are having a great day.
What's your favorite part of the trip? All the friends I made along the way.
More than a masterpiece, Elden Ring is a return to form for the gaming industry. This review was written by the illustrious Anthony Griffin and put into video form by yours truly. Released in late February and welcomed with record-breaking sales and endless critical praise, Elden Ring's success is no secret. However, if you're still on the fence about whether you should begin your own journey to become Elden Lord, I'm here to share new perspectives for you to consider, so stay tuned to the end of the video to hear more.
Is ruled by great heroes.
Now, I've obtained a perspective that can only be revealed after spending months gradually making my way towards the golden, glimmering Erd tree that dominates the skyline of the lands between. Elden Ring is much more than a Game of the Year contender, a stark contrast to the dark, ominous content within the game itself. On a meta level, Elden Ring is a beacon of hope for a gaming industry that has been rife with anti-consumer practices, get-rich-quick schemes, and a lack of imagination.
Erd Tree's blessing was disrupted, and eventually the exiled Tarnished found themselves being led once more by long-lost grace.
Elden Ring is an important reminder that excellent games can be financially successful, and I hope the industry takes notice. First, a little background. Despite its objective success, Elden Ring is not without controversy. A vocal minority continues to claim that the game is unfairly difficult, demanding that the developer From Software add an easy mode. Because of this, an Elden Ring review requires context, information about the reviewer. Here are some important details about me. At 43 years old, I'm a lifelong gamer, consistently playing games, researching the industry, and occasionally working in it since the early 80s. That being said, although far from a casual gamer, as self-employed consultant with a variety of hobbies, pursuits, and responsibilities, my time for gaming is limited. I typically tackle one major single-player release at a time, working my way through it until the end, no matter how long it takes. Elden Ring is my first Soulsborne game, so I had no prior experience to soften the blow of the game's difficulty. If you can relate to any of these points, there's a chance that you too will enjoy Elden Ring. It's all about how you approach the game. So who is Elden Ring for? Elden Ring is a love letter to the old school gamer, those of us who grew up with classic adventure and role-playing games in a world without instant solutions available via YouTube videos and online walkthroughs. It's a game for those who remember drawing their own maps and taking handwritten notes to find their way through games. As an open-world action RPG adventure, Elden Ring rekindles that sense of wonder from bygone years. In a world of paint-by-numbers, FA open-world games, the lack of hand-holding in Elden Ring can be jarring at first, but if you sit with it, stay calm, and take your time with the game, your old-school instincts will certainly return. But is it too hard? Make no mistake, Elden Ring is incredibly hard. The knee-jerk reaction for many players will be to give up within minutes of starting the game. However, the key for enjoying Elden Ring is to remember its true, non-linear, open-world nature. Just because you see an imposing enemy, that doesn't mean you can or should take it on. If a boss is consistently beating you down, go explore other parts of the game's massive world. Not only will you gain precious runes, rewards that serve as both experience points and the game's currency, but you'll also find new items and encounter mysterious side quests that keep you entertained and develop your skills. Before you know it, you'll be ready to take on that intimidating boss. And even if that fails, the developers have included layers of organic ways to manage the game's difficulty. You can summon AI-controlled spirits to aid you in battle. If that's not enough, you can leverage the game's multiplayer system to enlist the help of other, more experienced gamers. With the right combination of players, it's possible to take down the game's most challenging bosses. I was able to complete the game in 93 hours, playing solo with spirit summons whenever I could, but never hesitating to call for human help when I felt overwhelmed. The best part is that I was able to complete the game with hardly any grinding or EXP farming, less than an hour to be precise. Game respected my time, and my entire experience with this game was substantial and engaging throughout. So much so that after the credits rolled, I dove right back in for more. A rarity considering my busy lifestyle and my ever-growing gaming backlog. Are there any downsides to Elden Ring? I played Elden Ring on a bog standard PS4 and still found the game to be a technical masterpiece. The vistas of the lands between are breathtaking, with surreal colors and imagery that can only be found in masterfully crafted fantasy worlds. Even if you don't have the latest and greatest hardware, you'll marvel at what you see.
Also join with players from other worlds.
That being said, frame rate and enemy draw distances leave room for improvement. The game targets 30 frames per second, but often dips below that during intense battles. When viewed from afar, enemy and NPC animations can flicker and stutter. However, and thankfully, combat always flows smoothly, enough when it should. When enemies are within range of your melee or ranged attacks. Overall, these are minor gripes, especially considering I'm playing the game on hardware that's been around for nearly a decade. There is, however, one significant technical setback that truly threatens your enjoyment. And that is hard crashes. In my nearly 100 hours of playtime, the game crashed or froze more than 5 times, oftentimes when attempting to summon other players. Overall, this isn't a bad crash to gameplay ratio, but if the game consistently freezes when you are trying to summon someone to help you beat a frustrating boss, this can impede your progress, at least for a few hours. This is especially the case near the end of the game, when the difficulty spikes significantly, and there are few remaining areas on the map to explore. Fortunately, I haven't experienced any crashes recently, so hopefully the issue has been dealt with in the latest patch. A game for the ages. There's so much more to this game, but to be honest, much of that has already been covered in existing reviews. My goal was to present a different angle on the game, demonstrating that Elden Ring can appeal to even wider audiences than many think. You don't need the skill of an Elden Lord or gobs of free time to enjoy this game. If an old-timer like me can have such an unforgettable experience with Elden Ring, then perhaps you can too. Elden Ring is a masterpiece and a genuine gift to those who have been gaming since the 80s. Not only will this likely be Game of the Year, but for me, it's one of the best games I've played in years, if not decades. We're going to give Elden Ring for the PlayStation 4 a 9.5 boom out of 10. I hope y'all having a great day. Thanks to Anton for the review. Welcome back to the Mike Wu Experiment. I am here today to give you a port review for the Portal Collection by Valve that just released and was shadow dropped as part of the recent Nintendo Direct Mini. So let's talk about it. First of all, I have been a big fan of Valve and Portal for an awful long time, right down to the crazy, hose screw behind the head. Valve just makes great games, and it's actually kind of a shame they don't make a lot more games these days. They used to. They made Portal, Portal 2, Half-Life, Half-Life 2, which led to Team Fortress 2. So, Valve has really been involved with just a lot of various games and high-quality games that stand the test of time. And I want to say that this Portal collection on the Switch does not disappoint, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go into it. Just going to go game at a time here. I'm going to tell you guys a couple of things you might not know about Portal. For the Switch specifically, some things I learned. I'll show you guys some footage along the way. So first of all, Portal 1. Now, Portal 1 is a great port. Now, you cannot buy these separately. I wanted to point that out. Each game, if you go to the collection on the eShop, each game is not available separately. Just a heads up on that. You can't buy one or two. You got to buy them both. It's only $20 though. So the first game is really awesome. The first game is just kind of the intro to it. It's a little more plain and simple than the second game. So I feel like they knocked the first game out of the park 1-to-1, just like the old PC version. 60 frames a second, probably on medium or high settings. In my opinion, just from the eye check, obviously I didn't run a Digital Foundry-like analysis. I also haven't run it in docked mode because, as you can see from this beautiful scenery around me, I'm not at home. So I will eventually see the docked mode, but honestly, it probably will just be a 720 to 1080p upscale. I don't think there's going to be anything else there. Maybe it'll look a little bit better, but we'll try that out. But I think Portal 1 looks amazing. Smooth. It has motion controls that you can turn on or off. Tons of settings. Portal 1 also includes developer commentary. It's crazy. Developer commentary, bonus levels called Still Alive, which is based on the song Still Alive. I don't know if you guys have heard that. I'll put that at the end of this video so you guys can peep that song out. It's really good. So Portal has all that stuff. I mean, Portal alone for $20 would have been worth it for all that stuff. You get developers commentary. I mean, I paid more for games that weren't half as good. I just want to say both these games are 10 out of 10s. This review is a port review, so it's not the review of the quality. These are 10 out of 10 games, guys. It's hard to dispute. Go play them. I mean, they're amazing games. They'll really challenge your brain. They're very fun. There's a lot of good story, too. That's what sets Portal aside, I think, from other puzzlers, is the good story. So there's a lot of good story with GLaDOS. And then Wheatley in the second one. But the first one, awesome. 60 frames a second, great performance, 10 out of 10 port review. The port is flawless. I didn't really see anything. I mean, I think the NVIDIA chipset being in the Switch is huge for these kind of games because these games were designed on NVIDIA hardware. So the games they run great. I don't know why we can't go back to more simpler games like this that just look good. It's like, these games look good. They're not, crazy graphically intense, but, it seems like computer technology and graphics card technology scales up so much, but then they keep trying to push it and they add all this stuff in and stuff doesn't run on the Switch because they've added too much stuff in. These are just like, and yeah, granted, they're 15-year-old games, but still, I mean, what they were able to accomplish on this handheld, it looks so good on the OLED, guys. Top notch on the OLED. So absolutely, Portal 1, 10 out of 10 port review. Portal 2, there is some other stuff. Portal 2 doesn't have as many bells and whistles as far as bonus content. It doesn't have like that DLC type content. So it doesn't have developer commentary. But what it does have, which a lot of people don't know about probably, and I only found this out after I bought it, there is a cooperative multiplayer mode in Portal 2. So I have some footage here of me playing with someone else. I don't know what the heck I was doing. I had to play through that. I recommend not starting with that, by the way. Start with the regular game. The multiplayer content is intended for those people that have played the game already. Do not start with cooperative in Portal 2. But what I want to say is that you can play either local split screen or cooperative multiplayer in Portal 2. Now, how does Portal 2 look? Portal 2 looks amazing. It is a little bit more graphically intense. It's a little bit newer game. So I'm going to give the Portal 2 port a 9 out of 10 just because I felt like it was grainy in some spots. It's not perfect, but honestly, when you're playing, you're not going to notice. And I think a lot of it's the OLED too. I think if you have the other Switch, some of that stuff. I noticed that OLED brings out a lot of the graininess sometimes in graphics. But even that said, even though it still looks pretty darn good on the OLED. So I would give that, I would give that a 10 out of 10, or 9 out of 10. I'm taking a point off just because the graphical fidelity isn't quite what it would be on medium or high settings on a PC, or high settings at least. I'm giving it medium. But it still runs, I think, a solid 60 FPS from what I could tell. And it looks great, like, don't get me wrong. For the Switch, I mean, it's like, whoa. I think Portal 1 just looks a little bit better. But, again, it's probably the age of the games. But either way, as a combined package, this is a 10 out of 10 in all ways. Port and everything else. I mean, I had to take 1 point off of the Portal 2 port just because the graphics were slightly lower, I want to be honest. But, man, if you guys have not played Portal, buy this game. I'm telling you, it is, if you like puzzle games even a little bit, you are going to absolutely love this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this port review and this beautiful weather and view, and I hope y'all having a great day.
Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to review the latest DLCs for AAA Clock. Now it seems like you guys just can't get enough Clock goodness, so here we are with another review.
Now first up is the piece of elegance. That's right, baby, the elegant Clock from AAA Clock. Oh my god! But in all seriousness, this one was a little disappointing. It doesn't really look like an elegant clock like they're showing on the front. It just is sort of, it looks like the face of a Citizen watch with a, some color skins. But, I'm going to give this one like a 5 out of 10.
Now next up is the digital clock. Now this thing is pretty cool. I would say this is one of my favorites from this latest pack of DLCs, but I have to say the different colors are very nice. I love the warm, kind of soft glow to the different colors. This is really, really solid. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Next up is the Pixel Clock, and I have to say this is probably my favorite out of all of the offerings with the latest upgrade to AAA Clock. Now this thing is cool. You can change the colors. There is also an animation when the alarm happens, as you can see there, the smiley face. Now that is why I think this particular one is really a cut above the rest. As you can see, I'm just making it go and go and go there, but it's super cool. I'm giving the Pixel Clock a 10 out of 10. Our penultimate clock is none other than the Happy Clock. Now this thing is terrifying. If you take a close look at the background images, you will notice the various scary cartoon characters will blink at you. Now you could put this on your bedside table and have scary cartoon characters blink at you. I'm not sure if you'll be doing that. I don't think I'll be doing that, but I have to say this is a very creative clock and really a lot of work went into this one. Overall, I'm going to give the Happy Clock a nightmare out of 10. Next up is the National Clock, and this is another hit for me. I thought they did an excellent job recreating several nations' flags as backgrounds. You know, the minute and second hand have been used on some of their other clocks, so that's not really original. It doesn't seem like they changed that part all that much, but the backgrounds are awesome. But I'm going to give the National Clock a 10 out of 10. By the way, I can't fail to mention that these were provided by Red Deer Games for free to all of you as DLC, so I have to give a shout out to Red Deer Games for making these free DLCs. You know, other companies making AAA products could definitely take, you know, a page out of their book. But I hope you all enjoyed this view, and I hope y'all having a great day. Hey everybody, welcome Anton on the Mike Will Experiment. Yeah.
This is Anton G, longtime friend and collaborator with Mike Will. And today in this video, I'm going to talk about why I bought a Nintendo 3DS in 2022. So this portable gaming system is out of production. It's old. Everybody has the Switch. Yet there's a lot of value in getting it today, and I'm going to talk about that today. So my main reason is because I speak Japanese, and I'm still learning to speak Japanese and read Japanese even better. As some of you know, I live in Japan. I'm a proficient Japanese speaker and reader and writer, but I still have a long way to go. I'm about an upper intermediate reader, writer, and speaker, and so I've been wanting to do more with the language. Reading is great, but it's kind of slow and it can get boring sometimes. So after checking out some YouTube videos, for example, a video from Game Gengo, where he talks about gaming in Japanese, playing video games in Japanese for immersion. And the 3DS happens to be one of the best systems to do that. Number one, like it or not, a lot of the games are for younger crowds, so they're simpler to enjoy in another language. Also, and I'll open it up right here, as many of you know, the 3DS is the only portable system that has a stylus. So you've got two screens, and of course the bottom one you can write with. So that means there's a lot of software out there where you can actually write Japanese kanji characters. Well, I should say Chinese characters, those complicated characters that you see, for example, these right here. are actually imported from China, but that's a topic for another video. I digress. So that means you've got a portable system that's simple, easy to use, and it has a stylus, which makes it great for writing Japanese. And there's a lot of original software for that. But then again, of course, there's a lot of games that are relatively easy to play and easy to get into, where you can hear and read Japanese 24/7 all the time. Also, the 3DS is region locked. So that means the Japanese 3DS, again, this one right here, will only play Japanese games, which you see in front of you. So a lot of times with other gaming systems like the Switch or the PS4, when I play them, I can cheat. If my willpower gets low, I can just change the games to English, where whenever I touch this system, I have to use Japanese from the beginning to the end. So some people might wonder, why not just get a Nintendo Switch? It's the newest one, it's portable, you can use it at home. I just wanted something simple that I could fire up really quickly, get into using Japanese. I didn't want another console to worry about. And I also love how these games, you just plug them in and go. Yes, some of them need updates, but generally speaking, you can just put the game in, you're playing within seconds. And that leads me to the side benefit, the other reason I picked up the 3DS. And I should say this is the new 3DS LL, as we call it in Japan. I think in the States it's called the XL. So it's kind of a bigger model than the original. So I picked it up new. I think brand new it cost, I'd say, between $250 and $300, depending on the exchange rate at the time. So it's not too bad. They're getting hard to find. You can find used ones for under $100, again, depending on the exchange rate. So newer users, that you can still find them if you want to get them. But anyway, back to my point, this is probably going to be the last mainstream portable console that we ever see. Everybody has a smartphone, the Switch is a popular seller. So, this is the only portable gaming system that I haven't had. I've had all the previous Game Boys, the original DS system, PlayStation Portable. So, I wanted to collect something again. And yes, there's an e-store, but you have all of these physical games you can go and collect. The timing is right. Right now, these games are very affordable. Some of them you can get new. However, used ones, a lot of these are only $10. And in Japan, the used game market is amazing. The condition of these games are immaculate. So when you buy used games here, it's like buying new. So there's a lot of titles out there that are affordable. So you can just build this fun collection with minimal investments. So with that being said, that's why I got this system in 2022. Let's now go over the games. And again, shout out to the Game Gengo YouTube channel. They gave me the idea to kind of check out this system and recommended some of the games you're about to see for studying Japanese. And now let's go through my collection, and I'll probably have a little something to say about each game. And I have something for everybody. If you're interested in learning and studying Japanese, I've got content for you. But again, this is also a collection. So you'll see which games caught my eye and games that might interest you if you are interested in picking up a 3DS these days. So you'll see three piles here. The pile on my left right here, these are the hardcore products for studying and writing and reading Japanese, and I'll explain that later. These are, I'd hardly call them games or educational products, and again, they take advantage of the 3DS stylus. So most of these are going to be writing, kanji, grammar, things like that. So that's the hardcore stack there. This middle stack, the largest stack, these games are all for Japanese immersion. So a lot of these are role-playing games where you have a lot of reading, or better yet, reading and speaking. So you can play these games and read Japanese and hear Japanese and interact with Japanese and have a good time. I mean, we have some amazing brands in here like Metal Gear, Biohazard / Resident Evil, Fire Emblem. So the goal here is to have fun while being immersed in the language. And this is hours upon hours upon hours of content here. The third column, these are the collectibles. These games they're in Japanese, like I said. The 3DS is region locked, so anything that goes in it, you have to use Japanese for the most part. There are a few exceptions I've found in these games, and I'll talk about that. But these, generally speaking, are action games or racing games where you're not using the language so much. But I got them just to collect. They came recommended. They show off the 3D features of the system. So that's what this pile is here, and I'll talk about that later. So with that, let's talk about each of these games. Okay, let's start with the hardcore Japanese writing, reading, and learning column. Now, this game here, Tadashi Kanji Kakitori-kun, I've actually bought this twice. So again, I mentioned I had the original Nintendo DS, and when I came to Japan, not long after that, I bought this game to work on my kanji character writing. However, it was a little too tough for me. I was a beginner still. So I put the game aside and didn't really use it, and I eventually gave away or sold my old DS and this game with it. However, once I picked up the 3DS, I realized maybe this will be easier this time around. So I bought this again, used. It's only about like $5. So again, super easy to collect. But this is basically training you to write kanji with this method of this professor guy here. So I think they're all the kanji you need to be literate are included, if I remember correctly. So it's a really good one. It's a really fun one. This one here, Zenkyu Zenkanji Kanzen Seiwa Seiha Premium. That's a mouthful. If you're interested in this game, just remember the picture. The key word is premium. There's so many games in this series. The premium one is the best. So this is for taking a kanji exam called the Kanji Kente, or Kanji Ken for short. And has tons. I forgot how many kanji it has, but it has way more than anyone needs to know. So again, this organizes the kanji that you need to write according to that test. Next up is interesting because this focuses on reading and grammar, for example. So bunsho yomi training. So this is one of the few products that actually focuses on grammar. It's made by Benesse, an educational company. So yeah, I definitely want to pick this up just because it's the only software that I know that trains you for reading and grammar instead of kanji characters and so on. And then finally, by the way, those are all 3DS games. The 3DS is, or sorry, those are all DS games. The 3DS is backwards compatible with Nintendo's previous portable, the DS. So those are old, no fancy effects, but they're still useful. I'm glad that, you know, I can use them. Now this one here, Kanken Shogakse, is actually for elementary school students, which might sound weird because I'm in my 40s. However, it covers from the bottom level, level 10, through level 2 of the Kanji Kente, that exam. And level 2 is basically being literate. Most native speakers stop there. So it says for elementary school, but if you stick with this, you can become literate in writing Japanese and Chinese characters. So also this one has audio, which is helpful. and it's newer. It's for the 3DS actually. So I went ahead and picked this one up. Again, none of these are really expensive. Okay, now let's go through the immersion column, the games that are great for immersing oneself in the language. Now, this one here, Downtown Neketsu Monogatari SP, which I guess most people in other countries will know as the River City Ransom series. I believe in English is River City Rival Showdown. I wasn't planning on adding this to my collection, but I stumbled across it at the used game store. I'm a fan of the original River City Ransom, so I picked it up. At first, I didn't think it would have a lot of Japanese in it, but it actually has a ton of content to read and a lot of story content. And it's pretty cool in 3D. So this one ended up in the immersion pile. So that was a nice surprise. Here we have Fire Emblem Awakening, as you probably know it. So here in Japan, we call it Fire Emblem Kakse. So here, honestly, I haven't played much of the Fire Emblem series, but it's one of those games that came recommended. I researched the 3DS heavily to get recommendations, and since I'm collecting, this is the first time in my life where I just checked out a lot of recommendations, cross-referenced the lists, and just bought games that were affordable and highly recommended, even if I never played them before. So again, a lot of Japanese to read and hear, so I'm looking forward to getting through this one day. This one, probably the most expensive game in the collection. If you try to buy it new, it's almost impossible to find, and it is more than full priced. Used, it's not much less. I guess it's really rare. I am a fan of the Metroid series, so I'm looking forward to this. Didn't think it would have a lot of Japanese, but it actually has enough. So I'm going to keep it in this immersion pile here. Biohazard, as you might know, Resident Evil, excellent 3D effects. So it's a great showpiece for the hardware, but also has plenty of Japanese to listen and hear. And in case you don't know, in the options, there's a switch to boost the 3D level even more than standard. So check that out if you're interested in this game. Funny fact about this one, even though it's the Japanese edition, you can play it in English. So it's going to take a little willpower to get through this one. Bravely Default. Out of all of these games, this is the one that I decided to start going through just because the Japanese level is very comfortable yet challenging. So it's so far it's been a nice to play, but also I can learn a lot of vocabulary and words, and I can go at my pace, which is important if you're playing games in another language. So this is a Bravely Default, a Square Enix game, and it's just beautiful, a beautiful game. The 3D effects, the artwork, character design. So yeah, this is the prize of my collection so far. This one, another game I've never played. I've played the modern Monster Hunter games that are out. This one is simpler, I'm assuming, and it's more of a standard role-playing game compared to the traditional ones, which are honestly probably a little too complicated for me in Japanese. But this one comes recommended. Seems like a good way, fun way to enjoy some Japanese. Affordable, and so I just picked it up. In fact, this one I think I still got new, so it's still in the original shrink wrap. Now, I'm a diehard Metal Gear fan, diehard Hideo Kojima fan, so I just had to pick this one up. I didn't care how much of any language it had in it. But yes, Metal Gear Solid 3D, having played all of the games on the other consoles, I just had to add this to my collection, and I must say it is really impressive. And it's also pretty fun to go through in Japanese because I've done it in English once or twice. So even though there's a lot of hard or difficult vocabulary words, it's still possible to get through in Japanese. So I'm enjoying that one. Xenoblade, I haven't played a Xeno whatever game since Xenogears on the PlayStation, the original. I just got this basically on Mike Will's recommendation. It's an RPG, it's loaded with Japanese, so I'm willing to give it a shot. Also, it's one of the few games that is exclusively for the new 3DS, so the newest version of the hardware before the console was discontinued. So just picked this up for the collection. Also, I found this one new, so haven't opened the shrink wrap yet. Animal Crossing, I played the original on the, I think it was I want to say GameCube version is the one I played, if I remember correctly. Had a good time with that one. This one has a lot of simple Japanese and Japanese that is used for everyday items. So this is incredibly useful just for reviewing daily life Japanese. Again, another game I was able to just pick up new. So again, it's really the perfect time to collect these games. You can just find them new, used, mostly for reasonable prices with few exceptions like Metroid and one more game I'm going to talk about later. Now, Pokemon. You can't think about Nintendo without thinking about Pokemon. I haven't played these games in a long time, probably since one of the original Game Boy versions. So I was on the fence about picking these up. You know, they're fun, they're great, but I just kind of, I don't want to say grown out of them, but they just weren't innovating a lot. However, I never had a 3DS, so I never experienced the 3 or more games that they released on them. So I went ahead and picked them up. And again, they're role-playing games. They're geared towards younger players. So that means they're probably good for enjoying Japanese without a lot of stress, without having to look up every single word in the dictionary. So I went ahead and picked these up. So I got there's 3, as far as I know, 3 mainline games. This one's actually a remake, the second one here. What is this? Alpha Sapphire, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that one's actually a remake. This one's the newest one, Ultra Sun. They're all different. So I don't know which one I'll like the best. I've heard probably I'll like this one the most because it's, you know, kind of the simplest. This one seemed pretty complicated. We'll see. I just wanted to get them in the collection. Now, an interesting thing I learned about these is also like Resident Evil, you can switch them to English even though they're Japanese products. So willpower will be required. But the really cool thing, if you're struggling with kanji, the complicated Chinese characters that have been imported into Japanese, these games, you can actually turn off kanji and you can use simplified hiragana, katakana, the original Japanese characters used for writing. So if you want to play a game and you're not ready to handle all of the kanji, that's a really cool thing about these games, is you can actually play them without relying on kanji. So yeah, we'll see how those games go. Okay, time for the final column, and this one is just a short column. And again, these are games I just got to collect, or they were games that people said, hey, this really shows off the technical capabilities of the 3DS. So again, all of them are in Japanese, but you're just not reading Japanese or listening to Japanese constantly like in the other games that I mentioned. So the first and foremost, we have Super Mario 3D Land. To be honest, I haven't been a big Mario fan since Mario 3 on the original Nintendo, but just so many people recommended this game, and honestly, I played it a little bit, and it was pretty fun to get back into. So I think I'll enjoy this one. So I'm pretty glad I picked it up. I do, however, love Mario Kart on, you know, whenever it comes out, you know, be it in the arcade, and be it on GameCube. So I just couldn't help but pick this one up. And again, it's has some really cool 3D effects, and it's just fun to play. But the amount of Japanese in here is minimal. So this is just for the collection, for fun. Now, this one, this Kirby Robobo Planetto. So that's how it's said in Japanese, at least. This one is the other very hard to get, very rare game, just like Metroid. It's relatively expensive, it's hard to get a hold of, and the only reason I got it, it wasn't even on my radar at all. I've hardly ever played Kirby games, is it just came so highly recommended by people who had a 3DS. So again, this is the first time in my life where I'm just buying games based off of recommendation because I'm collecting something new. So yeah, this was hard to get, but I got it. Played it a little bit. It does seem like fun, but again, you don't need to use a lot of Japanese to play it. You don't need to know the language. So I'm gonna enjoy it, but it's a lower priority title. It's mainly for the collection. And then finally, on a similar note, this game, Kid Icarus for 3DS, was also, honestly, I would say it was, I don't want to say controversial, but it was a love it or hate it game. But enough people really liked it, the unique gameplay where you actually use the stylus to play the game and the 3D effects. I said, you know, why not give it a shot? I'm collecting. It's not too expensive. This one isn't so rare. And I didn't think it would have a lot of Japanese in it, but as it turns out, it does. There's a narrator constantly speaking as you go through the game, and you can also read what she says. So this turned out to be a nice surprise. It's in the collection fun stack for now, but this could end up, you know, moving over to kind of the immersion level stack. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. So yeah, that's it. That's why I have a 3DS, an older system in 2002, and that is the collection that I've amassed so far. I don't plan on growing this collection at all. However, if I stumble across something that looks unique and it's cheap in the used game store, who knows, I might just pick it up. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Stay tuned to the Mike Will Experiment for more of Anton G and his collections and insights. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to review the best month ever for the Nintendo Switch. Just so you're aware, the product code was provided by the publisher for this review. So I had high hopes for the best month ever. I'm a big fan of Road 96, which has a similar vibe, and that you're taking this road trip, kind of, and there's some very tense situations around and conflict, although best month ever is more about family. And even though I enjoyed my 2.5-hour playthrough of this game, I didn't feel comfortable giving it a review score just because I was done with it after that, and there are like 9 endings to this game. But honestly, there's just not that much in way of dialogue choices. There's a few, and I didn't really like the, system they had in place where you had different emotions that you had to appeal to. It didn't appeal to me. I did go online and watch some of the other endings and some of the other playthroughs, and it just didn't really seem like anything really changed much. There was no new scenes or anything. It was really disappointing, guys. This is made by a very small team. It's like a film festival type project. It's a beautiful game, don't get me wrong, and maybe catch it on sale, but at the price that it's at right now, I would definitely wait on this one, guys. But I hope y'all like this review, and I hope y'all have a great day. Welcome back to another episode of Retro Reviews. In this episode, we take a look at the black box version of baseball for the Nintendo Entertainment System. To start off these reviews, I like to share what I experienced during the actual era, since I recall the late Atari and NES eras quite vividly. My earliest memories of a baseball game begin with Atari's similarly self-titled affair. Although, it is worth mentioning for the purpose of this review, though less relevant in modern times, the games actually bore the Real Sports moniker, and boy, is this review a real bore if you hate sports games. Both NES baseball and real sports baseball are built on the same foundational ideas, a simple top-down interpretation of baseball. One of my childhood friends, Lucas, participated in some of the earliest known nostalgia as he had an Atari 2600 on his main TV in the year 1986, even though his NES sat collecting dust just in the other room. Truly ahead of his time! On a particular day that I was visiting Lucas, he handed me a stiff, rubbery joystick with a red squishy button and challenged me to a game. I will never forget the excitement of running these stick figures towards other stick figures to get an out. The runners sort of controlled like gigantic adventure dragons. Looked like them too. Lucas also reintroduced me to several other Atari classics during our times hanging out, such as Demons to Diamonds, chess, and even Yar's Revenge. Tragically, my friend Lucas died at the age of 10 due to an auto accident, but I wanted to share these times with you to honor his memory. It's hard to imagine how it's fair or even right that I've gotten so much more life than he did, but I was honored to spend some of my most cherished video game sessions of an epic era with him. Rest in peace, my friend. The footage you'll see here is from the Atari Flashback Classics for the Nintendo Switch. In this compilation, both the 2600 and 5200 version of this game are available and shown here. This is an extremely fun baseball title. While the graphical stylings are nothing to be too excited about, I will say that going back and trying to hit this tiny, pixelated ball with a single pixel-wide bat is dang near impossible, and I have no idea how the heck we did this back in the day. For this review, I played the NES baseball title first and then dipped back into the Atari version. I did this because I felt a kinetic energy between the two games. It was clear that Nintendo took its inspiration from what Atari had done the previous year with real sports baseball. And so my gut feeling was, wow, this baseball game on the NES is kind of terrible, 1 out of 10, and to some extent as a game in 2022, that review still rings true, but there are a cavalcade of baseball titles you can play even in the retro format, and almost all of them are better than baseball for the NES. However, retro reviews are not as straightforward as they seem due to adjusting for the era and competition of that time. You might fire this game up on a whim on your Nintendo Switch online service like I did and think, well, this sucks. And to be honest, nowadays this game is pretty bad. The controls are pretty unresponsive half the time. It doesn't even feel like you are controlling the character at all. I couldn't even really tell if I was pitching or batting at one point because the response is so very sluggish. Unless you have specific nostalgia for this game, it would be hard to recommend diving too deep into this one, but I definitely recommend giving it a spin so you can see what the game brought to the baseball genre. You can also see where these modern games have taken their inspiration. It's odd to think of Nintendo as a pioneer in the sports genre, but with baseball, they definitely ushered in a new, better era of baseball games. Nintendo would continue to release realistic-style sports games throughout the 1980s, several through black box releases such as tennis, golf, 10-yard fight, volleyball, and ice hockey. The last two serious Nintendo sports releases were in the year 1988, ice hockey and world-class track meet, which is also known as stadium events. Later, in the early 1990s, Electronic Arts, or EA, took on bringing the most realistic sports experiences to home consoles. At this point, Nintendo pivoted, shying away from releasing sports titles, but started a whole new Mario-themed lineup with the 1995 release of Mario Tennis on the N64. This is also available on N64 Switch Online, with the expansion pack. And we haven't seen a realistic sporting release since. I think most of us are relieved by this as we enjoy Nintendo for its characters, not its sports games, and the merge of the two has created great experiences like Super Mario Strikers, Mario Golf, and most recently a dive back into quasi-realism with Switch Sports. To determine my final score for this game, I also consulted as many critical reviews of the era and modern ones that I could find. Most reviewers complained about its terrible controls even when it was released then. Taking all of this into account, I give baseball for the NES a black box out of 10. It's actually 7 out of 10. It was simply an average game, even in its era, and while baseball was groundbreaking as a game, it never really got past being more than simply average. Fundamentally, the Atari 5200 version of Real Sports Baseball matched or exceeded the features of the NES baseball title. Now, I would like to say that, overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10 simply because you take an average score of 5, and you add the 2 points for innovation. So that's where we got 7 out of 10. But I hope you all enjoyed this, and next up on Retro Reviews is Donkey Kong, and I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome to Retro Reviews, a series where I review various retro games of the past. I will be starting with the entire library of games available for the Nintendo Switch Online and Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack service. First up is a game that certainly blew up in its time. It might have even floated off the shelves in its original luxurious black box. That game is Balloon Fight. I cringe when Balloon Fight is mentioned. It has not been a game that has appealed to me at any point in life. When I was a kid, I thought it looked like a baby game, be avoided at all costs. I remember thinking to myself, and I was just 6 at the time, who is this game for? Who are they marketing this towards? I suppose I can be critical and infer that Balloon Fight does have cultural significance, but I have to ask, was anyone playing this game at launch? I had a lot of friends that had Nintendo systems, and if there was a copy of Balloon Fight in their arsenal, it remained the most untouched, bypassed thing of all time. I mean, we were pulling Mario 3 and Tecmo Bowl and Ikari Warriors. No one was reaching for the Balloon Fight. Heck, I even had someone show me Gyromite without Rob, since every Rob I've ever seen as a kid was completely broken. I feel like Balloon Fight was a game parents bought because it seemed wholesome, but ultimately was passed over for the true NES classics. It isn't even really a standout amongst black box games. In essence, Balloon Fight is the kid-friendly interpretation of Williams Atari's arcade classic Joust. The player floats around with a number of balloons above their head that essentially equal hit points. The goal is to defeat all enemies on screen and, like many arcade games before it, achieve the highest score. It is similar to other early games in the NES library that focused on converting arcade experiences to home console. Many black box games delivered arcade to home experiences. In Balloon Fight, you can take on a one-player mode, complete with tons of enemies to pop, and even bonus stages to complete. Or, you can even subject a second party to this. In two-player mode, which is the most entertaining thing by far, you control 2 balloon guys. In all seriousness, I think this is where Balloon Fight shines. I found the single-player mode to be mind-numbingly boring, but completing the game with a friend adds a whole other dynamic. As there is friendly fire, you can pop each other's balloons, and it seems like it might be a chill game to throw on with a friend. You probably won't play it long, but this is ultimately how I enjoyed my time with this game the most. But then you also have this balloon trip mode that is very, very snore-worthy. Dodge these stars and catch balloons, yay, oh the simpler times. There is even a ROM hack out there that can make the balloon trip mode 2-player. Yeehaw! Joust released a few years earlier, and it's not exactly the same, but is akin to Pac-Man v Ladybug, a reskin and imagining of the same principle. So with that, and in summary, my rating for Balloon Fight on the NES is a floppy Joust out of 10. Or 4 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next up is baseball. I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here to reveal the new SNES games to play, and this one is Earthworm Jim 2. Now, this is a fantastic game. I already know this. We are going to run through it, though, and give it a review. And how I do this is I just play them for a bit and give them reviews. You know, with these older games, for the most part, you can do that. So there is a password feature, apparently. Look at the distorted Super Nintendo controller. That's pretty cool. Okay. Hold on, I gotta crank this music up real quick. The last couple games I have the music down for because we're just annoying like arcade games, but let's crank this one up, man. Listen to that Super Nintendo music, man. Okay. Anything but tangerines, apparently, guys. So there's anything but tangerines is what you want in this world. Apparently. I don't know, I think tangerines are probably fine. Alright. So, one thing I will comment on right off the bat. Good job on the input lag. I'm not noticing a lot of input lag. Again, these reviews are as much about the port as they're about anything else. So yeah, definitely no input lag here. I really like that. Gem feels good to control. Yeah, solid. You know, I'm not using a Sega Genesis controller, or sorry, Super Nintendo controller or anything. Sorry, I associate this game with the Genesis, not with the Super Nintendo, so I keep saying that. But the Super Nintendo version is clean. I've never actually played the Super Nintendo version because I had the Genesis growing up. So I actually haven't played this, and the control is really solid. Whoopee! Whoopee! That's tight. I have to play some more of this today, man. This is pretty rad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm liking this. Yeah, this is good, guys. It definitely looks... I'll say it probably looks better than the Sega Genesis version, but I would be interested to see the... I kind of hope... I wish they got the license for it on both Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, because it would just be cool to see the difference. How do I get that? Oh, I have to whip it, right? I have to whip it? What the heck? I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. Use the pig. What? What do you mean? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here. Pig shoot. Oh, I see. It's a tad bit confusing. It's been so many years since I've played this game. How am I supposed to grab it, or what do I do? Oh, the pig shoot this thing? Like that? No, use the pig. What pig? I don't see any pig. Here, let me. I don't know what pig they're referring to. Did I need to get a pig from somewhere? I'm just so confused. Ah, okay. I see. This is so ridiculous. Ha! This game is so nuts. Alright. Pig shoot. And do I ride the pig, or what do I do? Do I whip the pig? I must need to get more than one pig? So confused. This is really weird, guys. Very, very unique game, though. I love the animation on this game. You know, it really has aged pretty well. No, I guess you're not supposed to... Okay, then what? Oh! Oh, I guess that... Weird. Alright. So there's these little, like, puzzles you have to figure out, which is kind of interesting. We'll do some whipping here. Oh. Hey, now. God dang it. There we go. Ha ha ha! Fresh! Yo. I don't understand what is happening in this game. Okay. How am I supposed to get past these ladies? I'm not trying to be fresh. I'm just trying to get past you ladies. Oh, I see. There we go. You have to speed up and slow down. That's really weird. No! Oh, man. Oh, man. Dang it. There we go. Okay. Nope. Man, kind of missed out on this game. Okay, so how... Oh, you have to go on the pole, right? Ah, that's what I was doing wrong. Okay. Yeah, it's not immediately apparent what you need to do in this game, and I kind of like it. What makes it unique is it relies less on hard platforming. I mean, there is hard platforming, I'm sure, but... And more on, like, controlling your environment, which is really cool. So, yeah, this game... I see why this game was such a revolution, you know? And I played it back in the day, but I don't think I really understood all those concepts that I just said to you right now. That comes with years of, you know... Ooh, bonus. What's the bonus? What's the bonus, everybody? That's the question. Crap. I guess you can jump and then do this. Yeah, that's how you have to do. Light bulb. Oh, this like takes you off to another stage or something. Oh, the... What is with the stair climber? Like, whose idea was this? I just wonder what the pitch meeting was like for this thing. No! I'm not trying to be fresh! Dang it! This is like the bagpipes. Hold on, I gotta turn... Probably gonna be fresh, but I gotta turn this music up a little bit. It's like bagpipes. Oh my goodness. Let's see if we can get through this. Oh! Oh! This is the bonus stage. No! I don't want it to go all the way back. This is an old school game for you. Look at that. What this game was telling me is get good, basically. It's like, get good. Alright, we'll get good. Sheesh. I don't know if I was supposed to grab that Earthworm gym icon. I have no idea. I don't know this game well enough. Alright, we did beat that. Like I said, I really think this game is cool. If I had to score this game, I would say this game is probably a 9 or 10 out of 10. But first impressions, I'd say a 10 out of 10 classic game. You know, if you guys have the Switch Online service, this is a great game to get a little time with, as it's an expensive game to buy, I know for sure. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to review Mappyland for Nintendo Switch Online. Plus, well, I guess not plus expansion pack, just online. So, you know, I'm pretty familiar with the original Nappy. You know, this one, I don't really... I mean, I played it a little bit in the arcade, I guess. I'm gonna die here. It's okay. I played it in the arcade a little bit, I guess, but I didn't really play it much beyond that. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Alright, you got these guys chasing you. Ugh. Okay, that one goes higher. Can I go up the ladder? I can. It's like a train or something? Was that the exit? I don't quite understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. I thought that would be the exit, but I guess it's not the exit. Am I supposed to get on the train? I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. Huh. Okay. Let's see if we can figure this out.
Okay. Not sure what the point of that is. And clearly they're trying to catch me. I get that part. Oh, I must have to collect all the cheese. Okay, that's what I'm missing here. Okay. Then I can get out the door, I assume. Okay. I was like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Okay. That was pretty funny. Do you get... Is there a way to get... Oh, okay. Okay, so... Just don't want a mouse to get cheese in this world, I tell you. Shoot. I get it now, though, and it's kind of fun. Oh, and I see it doesn't make you get the cheese. Oh, okay, it like lets you take off from where you left off, too. That's cool. Down the ladder. Okay, then what's that you have to grab? Another thing that you have to... Oh, those hurt you too, I guess. Oh, man. There's so many, like, things that can hurt you in this game. Yeah, it's one of those games that was designed to take your quarters, you know? It's not like a game that's designed to give you the upper hand at all. It's just not. Shoot. There we go. Okay. Can I leave now? Now I can leave. Okay. There we go. Okay. I mean, alright. Well, this stage is a lot different than the first stage. I like that. Ooh, and you have, like, projectiles you can fire. Ah. Oh, see, it lets you continue. That's cool. So far, I'm digging this. I mean, I like that you can continue. That's convenient. I mean, considering this game is older, you know, that's not really a feature you saw on games back in the day. So that I actually really like. Kind of reminds me of Kangaroo, too. I don't know if you guys ever played Kangaroo, but... It's kind of like that game, too. Kind of want to see what's next. The environments are different. That's really cool. Yeah, because I really think the environments, they're kind of like, oh, I want to see what they're going to do next. You know, I like that. It was really hard to pull off in this 8-bit era, too, because everything looked the same. Granted, this is an arcade game, so probably it looked even more polished in the arcade. We're going to try to clear this one level before we end this review. This game is freaking hard, though. I will say that. Fire! There we go. Oh, there's cheese there that I missed already. There we go. No! Why did I do that? Why? Oh, you can't even do anything with those things. You just have to avoid them altogether. Or hit them with the cannon, I guess, that they give you. I think I already used the cannon. Go, 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 go. Go. Dang it. Alright, guys. Well, we're going to end it here. I suck at this game, but give this game a shot. It's Mappyland. Nintendo Switch online service on the Nintendo eShop. So, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. And I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to talk about Dig Dug 2 for Nintendo Switch Online Collection. Now, this is not a game I ever played in the arcade. It was an arcade game, so I've kind of taken a look at the arcade graphics just to see the difference. It's pretty much the same, guys, to be honest. The NES was pretty capable. It's not quite as detailed as the arcade, but it looks great.
But we have never played this, so we were going to give it a go. I don't really know anything about it. I love the original Dig Dug. It seems like it's kind of a... The difference being you're just kind of pumping them up from above ground. So I guess this is like Dig Dug, but above ground. Where just, you have the spear, or just, I wonder if there's underground parts. Okay. Goodness. No, no, no. I always remember that little ghost thing. He does not... Dun, dun. Okay. Very good. Okay, so now I got round 2. And game audio can go up a little bit, maybe. Alright. Okay, so... Whoa! Oh, bomb boss. I see. I don't know how I feel about this game yet. I really like the original Dig Dug, but... I mean, okay. So you can... Oh, I see. You can drill where these little lines are. Oh, that's what you're supposed to do. I see. Okay, so there's a second mechanic here I was missing. There's 2 different ways to get rid of the enemies. You can actually drill holes, too. So it's like above ground Dig Dug, which... there's a reason I probably never played this. It just doesn't seem like it's that compelling. We'll see how far we get on one playthrough. I don't think we'll need much more than that to give a review score here, guys. Holy crap. Nope. Here's where it might come in handy to do this, right? Just break these guys off, or what? Oh, you can die, though. Okay, that was my question. Okay. Okay. So you're not immune. There we go. Yeah, you gotta be careful though, because you can get crept up on there. Okay. Shoot. You gotta kind of decide. Well, can I like get rid of them this way? Then you don't want to yourself end up, you know, getting blocked off. Is there like a fruit you can pick up there? I guess that's like in the old games. There was a vegetable for each level in the old game. In the first Dig Dug. I don't know, guys. We'll see how far we get. Okay, so there's a little bit. They mixed it up here a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure you'd want to do any kind of destruction here. This seems like it's pretty doable without doing that. That was almost really bad. I'm trying to see if I can... Almost did something there, but not really. Anyways, got the job done. There we go. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, they didn't really expand too much. I mean, you don't have this is just replacing, I guess, dropping the rocks is just cutting off, you know. I mean, you could do this. That gets rid of him. I mean, it's weird. They're going to ghost form, but you can still get them. So it's like, when they went into ghost form like that, it was so they could go through the underground part. So this game just doesn't really make that much sense, I have to be honest. It just doesn't... Like, why are they still turning into ghosts when they're above ground and can just walk? I don't know. You know, it's not underground anymore. Why do they need to turn it? I don't know. It's just, it's silly. You know, this is like that game 10 Square, or the game on, what is that, what is that thing for the Nintendo Switch? Clubhouse games. Where you draw the line. That's what that reminds me of. And I guess you could lure everybody over and then do some cuttage, but they're not fast enough for all that. No. Woo. I'm gonna die. I tried. I don't quite understand that concept. You know, my final score for this game, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. I don't think it really expands upon the Dig Dug. I don't think it does anything to make Dig Dug better, and in fact, I think it's worse. So, I'm going to say 5 out of 10 on this one, guys. But definitely give it a shot. It's free with Nintendo Switch Online. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to play a game called, yes, it's called Clown 2. It was super cheap on the eShop. I don't know if there's a Clown 1. I'll be honest, guys, I didn't do the research. Maybe there's a Clown 1? I don't know. I'm scared of what this game could possibly be. But it looked really dumb. So this new series is going to be called, What Is This? No. It's going to be called, essentially, What? Like, W-U-T is this. I-Z. So, what is Clown 2 Lost Diamonds for the Nintendo Switch? Well, we shall find out. Now, this looks like it might have been made in... Why is the camera angle so far away? What is happening? Can I not move the camera? Okay. No. This is so bad. Ah! Oh no, you have died. Oh. Oh no, you have died. Okay. Ah! Wait for me, man. Okay, here we go. This game is straight up duty. You're supposed to avoid this stuff, I guess. I'm good. 1 out of 10. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here today to talk about an expansion for AAA Clock called AAA Clock Deluxe. Now, first up is the Cyber Clock. Now, I don't know if Cyberpunk 2077 authorized this. You can see the Cyberpunk color popped up there for a second. I didn't want to leave it on too long, thus I might get, some sort of copyright notification, Interesting choice there to go with Cyber Clock, although this is a really nice one. Next up is the Spin Clock. Now this one is interesting in that it's pretty basic, but I really like the color choices they have here. As you can see at the bottom, this is a lot of work that goes into this and went into these expansion clocks. So they're pretty interesting. I do like the colors available on this clock here. Now, of course, the piece de resistance of this AAA clock is none other than Squid Game, which has ignited the world and the pop culture here in AAA Clock and its expansion. AAA Clock Deluxe has really capitalized on this. All joking aside, I would say they did a really good job on the fonts here. They look excellent. I think the color choices here are quite good, and this really is an eye-catching font for AAA Clock. And yes, this is free DLC. If you already own AAA Clock, download this immediately. If you don't, go ahead and download AAA Clock Deluxe on sale right now for $1.99 as of the recording of this video. But because of this, I am going to give AAA Clock Deluxe a cease and desist out of 10. I hope you guys are having a great day. Make sure you like and subscribe for more crazy app reviews.
Welcome back, everybody. I am here today to review Nintendo's Switch Online Plus expansion pack. If you are new to the Mike Will Experiment, make sure you like and subscribe for more Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Now, I got the honor and privilege to try this out today. Now, I say that, and I have been critical of the pricing of this, but I have to say Nintendo nailed the online play. Now, I do have on the screen here Mario Kart 64, and you'll see it runs great. 4-player split screen, looks beautiful, appears to be running at 60 FPS, even in 4-player split screen. I can't confirm that. It may very well be 30, but it feels so impressive. The controls are responsive. There's very little input lag. I was just overall impressed with what they were able to pull off here with Mario Kart. It looks great. Here's Rainbow Road, one of my favorite courses. Again, you can see I'm playing with 4 players simultaneously on Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Now, I haven't played Mario Kart 64 for many years, but I did own the original Mario Kart 64 and a Nintendo 64 console back in the day, so the memories were really flooding back when I was playing this game. I did also get a chance to play Mario Tennis, and this game is awesome. I actually never did own this game back in the day. I have played the Nintendo Switch Tennis, but as you can see here, the online play is incredible. It's very sharp, very responsive. I didn't feel like, I was lagging out or, not able to control myself, and that's why I was losing points. I just wasn't playing very well in some instances. But I really thought they did a great job with the latency on this game. There just isn't much, and it really feels like they fine-tuned each of these games for online, and I think that's when you're going to start to see the value translate. It is an expensive product, but if you really love playing these games and you want to be able to play them online, there's nothing better. And here's Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This is another cool game. As you can see, though, no lag. This is a simple game. They've done games like this before without lag, but just for the fact that this doesn't have any lag, it runs amazing. It's just a testament to all of the work that Nintendo did put into this product. It is a quality product. If you were thinking about getting this, and if you're on the fence, I say go ahead and get it, especially if you like the Sega Genesis. Now, this is the part of the expansion pack that really surprised me. I really wasn't that interested in these games because they've been done to death and they're available elsewhere on the platform. However, the Sega Genesis Classics Collection is terrible when it comes to online play. It's just not good. Well, Nintendo has fixed that with this amazing netcode. I don't know what they did here, but I was able to play Sonic 2 simultaneous with Tails. I was able to play Sonic 2 split screen with absolutely zero lag. It's pretty impressive, especially with Sonic. Most 2D games that I've seen just don't run that well online. This makes me really excited to see if we could potentially get, if the licensing was right, Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles and play those with others. That would be so fun. So again, if you're a Sonic fan and you want to play this with a friend, it might be worth the price of admission just for that. Next, we did play a couple of shooters. Now, we played Gunstar Heroes. I kind of picked these games because I knew they would be demanding on the netcode and demanding on the Switch in its network in general. As it's not known for having great network connection, it's not known for having great online play. But man, if you look at this, it just looks fantastic. Gunstar Heroes is a fun game. I look forward to playing more of this online with other people. It looks like a lot of fun. There's a lot to this game. I never really played it much back in the day. I don't know, I wasn't into these type of games when I was younger, but that's why it'll be great to go re-explore these classics with other people, and it's so cool that you can play side by side with friends, and it just works so well. And again, I know that your mileage may vary depending on where you're located in comparison to Nintendo servers, depending on what kind of internet connection you have, but I don't have any kind of special internet connection, guys. It's just really good. I'm not playing this hooked up to a LAN or anything. This is all on the Wi-Fi of the Switch, as you can see there, and it runs amazing. Now, as you can see, here's Contra Hardcore again. hardcore. It's running perfect. I mean, you're not seeing really, I mean, there might be a frame of input lag or 2 or 3, but honestly, it's not costing you deaths. If I'm dying here, it's because I made a mistake. The other person on the other end wasn't lagging at all. We never had to exit out or back in at the game because it was too laggy. It just ran. Look at this. It just runs. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, of course it runs. And I'm telling you that I've played it on even the NES and SNES, and it doesn't run like this. I don't know what they did here, but they definitely souped up the netcode and they souped up the servers, because this is running absolutely fantastic. And we're going to close on some footage of Streets of Rage 2 here. And I know I focused a lot on the Sega Genesis games, but it's because this is where I was most concerned. The netcode for the Sega Genesis Classics collection was really bad. It was so laggy, like it would just move in slow motion. As you can see here, this runs incredible. I can't recommend this enough if you're a Genesis fan or an N64 fan. I was wrong about it to some extent. I really think that it is still too expensive, and I think they should have added a matchmaking mode so that you don't have to, make sure you have friends online. You can play whenever you want. This isn't really something you can play on demand. And because of those reasons, I am going to give the Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pass an 8 out of 10. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this review. I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here today to do a review of AAA Clock. If you are new to the Mike Will Experiment, make sure you like and subscribe for more wacky Switch applications. Now, this game is on sale on the eShop for simply just $1.99, down from $9.99 through October 29th. So if you're rearing for some clock action, make sure you pick this up before it goes off sale. Now, as you'll see, when I first started the video, that the numbers were purple, and that's because it does automatically detect your Joy-Con color and make your clock the same color as your Joy-Con. Now, of course, as you can see here, you can go through and change to the different colors, and there are a ton of different colors to set up your AAA dope clock. Now, there were some other cool features here that I don't want to fail to mention, and that is that there is 5 different languages for the text options. There is also an alarm clock built in, so you can set up an alarm clock. Of course, you're going to have to leave your Switch on all the time for this clock to work, which, is, well, it's something. I don't know if you'll be doing that very often, but here we will show off the alarm feature real quick. So you can set up your alarm. The numbers move really slow, which is another complaint of mine. You can't hold down the button and make the numbers move faster like you can on a regular alarm clock. So, but basically, yes, you can totally set an alarm and just leave your Switch screen on all the time and burn it out, especially the OLED, because you're going to want to really burn out that OLED with this thing. You really want this to burn into your OLED, so make sure you leave it on all the time. But that's not all. The developers of this game have included, of no extra charge to you, the consumer, a free Game & Watch style game. What is this masterpiece you can get for $1.99 alongside a AAA quality clock for your Nintendo Switch? Well, I will show you. I still literally have no idea what's going on with this game, by the way. I tried to play it for at least 10 minutes. It kind of reminds me of Flappy Bird. But this game just trolls you. It doesn't give you any weapons, and it says you have no ammo. So you literally, the game is you jumping over this stuff. You don't shoot anything. There's no end to the level that I can tell. So with that being said, I'm going to give AAA Clock an App Store out of 10. Let me know what you guys think of AAA Clock in the comments below, and I hope y'all are having a great day. Nintendo Direct indie darling Road 96 released this week, and I have to say, it's an amazing title. The lead on this project is none other than Johan Fenice. You may recognize this name from amazing games such as Beyond Good and Evil, Valiant Hearts, and Memories Retold. When I first started this game, and it does start off a little slow, your first run's going to take a while because you don't have any of the skills unlocked, and you just don't have any way to get around certain events. So it seems like the first run always takes a little bit longer. So keep that in mind in this game. The first run kind of takes some time. But once you've gotten through that first run, unlock some skills, essentially you are playing a roguelike Telltale game. And that is essentially what this is. It feels a lot like a Telltale game. I also got Life is Strange vibes from this, as well as Firewatch when it comes to the art style. When it comes to gameplay, a typical Telltale experience is pretty much what you get here. However, I would note that there is a big difference with the procedural generation. You're going to meet characters in different locations. You may see the same storylines play out in different areas. So it is different than a standard Telltale game, but the basic controls are very similar, or to other walking simulators like Firewatch. Something else that isn't in all walking simulators is the strategy that's involved in Road 96. You have a wallet full of money that you have to manage, and while there's no gaudy UI in this game, there is an inventory of skills that shows up between individual runs that you can see which skills that you have, and those skills will change the outcome of certain dialogues and events. So in this way, I would say the gameplay is more engaging in this title than a typical narrative-driven walking simulator. And that leads me to the story, which really is the star of Road 96. I thought they did a great job with the storylines. Many of them give you an emotional attachment to the characters. You pick up different versions of the different stories because you're playing a random person at the beginning of each run, so you don't have your own story. You are hearing all of these different parts of other stories, and it is really awesome. Graphically, this game is incredible. It looks similar to Firewatch, and I love the graphic style. With that being said, on the Nintendo Switch, there are some performance issues. You will have frame rates slow to a crawl, specifically in handheld mode. Now, this isn't anything game-breaking, but I did want to let people know if you're sensitive to low frame rate, you might want to consider picking this up on PC, where the standard frame rate tends to run 45 and up. The sound is another highlight. The sound captures the 1990s to a T. They did an amazing job on the soundtrack, and there are collectible cassettes that you can play at the various radios in Road 96. I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the fantastic gameplay loop that DigiXArt has created. Whereas in a typical adventure game, you play through the storyline, you make your decisions, and then you get a good or a bad ending. With this game, it's a little different. You're going to pick one of 3 protagonists to try to escape Petria in Road 96. Along the way, with each playthrough or episode taking about an hour, you're actually going to learn a lot about your character in that hour. Once you either escape, die, get arrested, whatever happens to your character, once that happens, you start over, you get a news briefing, and then you pick yet another character to start off with. So the gameplay loop is not only addicting, but incredibly fun and rewarding. And something I really wanted to cover was New Game Plus. Now, you're going to play through, it's about 8 to 10 hour journey to play through and get to Election Day. Once you get to Election Day in the game, you're going to start over with New Game Plus. New Game Plus carries all of your storylines and skills over. So each subsequent run not only gets easier, but you are more freed to make more interesting decisions. I'm gonna give Road 96 an 8 out of 10. Thanks again to DigiXArt for providing a review code. I hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here today to talk about Slime Rancher, the Plortable Edition, and provide you with a port review. So this review will be less about the game itself. I think most of you guys that have picked this up either will have played it or have heard about it. But if you're looking for a more comprehensive review, I recommend checking out a PS4 Xbox review. We are just going to be covering what's different with the port and how is it. So as you can see here, I have the Nintendo Switch graphics on screen. I will say that I recorded this through the button on the Switch, and it seems a little laggy, but that's not really how it looks in person. I just wanted to point that out. I did show some here of the gameplay also when you're in handheld mode, not just a recording from the screen. So you guys will be able to see that as well. But I do really think this turned out great. It plays great. It looks great. I thought Monomai Park did a great job on this port. Now, clearly, if you want the best graphical experience, you're going to want to go to the Xbox One here or the PS4, preferably a 1X or a PS4 Pro or, a 5 or a Series X. That's going to get your best performance on this game. This game really isn't about that, though. It's an 888 megabyte game. Really, this scales down quite nicely to the Nintendo Switch, and as I had previously thought, this port definitely exemplifies that this is the perfect fit for the Nintendo Switch. I would love to see if Digital Foundry bothers to do a breakdown on this game, because it would be interesting to see what the frame rate is. I can't quite tell. When I first started playing it, I thought maybe it was 60, but as I played it more, I realized it's more of an unlocked 30. But what do you guys think? If you guys played it, what do you think the frame rate is? I don't have a way to measure it. I go by more of just my eyes can see it really well, and sometimes I'm seeing it and sometimes I'm not. So that leads me to believe that this game is an unlocked 30. That may be something that can be addressed in a future patch. I would love them to do a performance quality patch on this game, where you can have performance running at 30 frames, better graphics, performance running at 60 with less better graphics, or running at 30 with excellent graphics will be your quality mode. So there's going to be two different modes. Quality mode would be great. 30 frames a second, high graphics. Performance mode, 60 frames a second, so-so graphics. This is the type of game that would really benefit from that kind of an option in the settings. So Monomai Park, make it happen. And then this is the handheld footage that I mentioned earlier in the review. I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like on the handheld. Now, I don't have docked footage. That will be available when I live stream this Friday, the 13th of August at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. With all that being said, I'm going to give the port of Slime Rancher a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. They can kill you.
The rock plorts can kill you?
Rock slimes.
Can you keep them though? I got some.
You can't. They go in a container like everybody else.
Uh-huh.
But they can jump around and like smack you.
Okay.
So then I'm gonna show you. I can't remember if I have this in my new system or not.
I'm a little jealous of how good it looks on the Xbox One X, but it looks pretty good on the Switch, but not this good. This looks pretty good.
In the late 1980s and early 1990s, a duo of Western-inspired fantasy RPGs hit both the console and PC markets. They were unique in that each had their roots in the PC game world. Usually, PCs were a bit beyond what consoles could do in this era, but a few made the transition from PC to console. One was called Ultima, the other, a series by competitor to Origin Systems' New World Computing, and the subject of this episode of Mike's Quality Reviews. I'm Mike Will from the Mike Will Experiment, and this is Might and Magic, Gates to Another World for the Sega Genesis. In this video, we will only be covering Might and Magic Gates to Another World for the Sega Genesis. The reason for this is the title that I have most of my nostalgia for.
Now, that's not to say I didn't enjoy walking into my local software, etc., and seeing the beautiful, colorful tiled boxes lining the shelves with their neon orange and sky blues. But I don't know that I could do justice to those games, so I've included a link in this video below. It also inspired me to make this video because I just don't think Might and Magic gets the light that it deserves. But with this video, I hope to bring this awesome franchise to a new generation. Now, Might and Magic 3 was another console release on the Super Nintendo, and if you all want to hear more about that, I may do a video on that title in the future. It's funny that I actually have more nostalgia for the game case, the manual, the pictures inside the manual, the mazes, than I actually have for the game, which is interesting because I felt a rush of nostalgia when I first saw this game featured on eBay. Now, this game isn't going to blow your mind on price charts or anything like that. It's not cheap, but it's definitely a low or uncommon price game, even though this game is in fact quite rare. This was the only available copy on eBay that included both the manual and the cartridge, complete with the box. Now, I'll admit, I haven't tested this game. I have no idea if it functions. For this review, I played it emulated on a PlayStation Portable. Now, mind you, I had the physical copy in hand, so there was nothing illegal happening here. I was simply using a backup to go ahead and give you guys a review. But I want to show you more with the manual. If you'll notice here, there are some codes in the manual, and this was because the game gave you very nondescript, completely cryptic clues, and you would have no idea what to do. You'll also notice some hand-drawn art here, and this really points out that the game isn't much to look at, even back then, so they had these elaborate art pieces to sort of set the tone and bring you into the world, even though the game itself may have not achieved that. Now, this game was published by Electronic Arts, which has really completely done a 180 from what they were back in this day. They were more of a game publisher. They brought obscure and almost crowdfunded type games to systems, and this is kind of one of them. New World Computing, while not in the era of crowdfunding, was certainly funded by a very passionate core of gamers that purchased these games. Now, you'll hear the intro music in. It is a little grating, but you have to understand that back in this era, that was like a crazy orchestral theme. I mean, this was the 16-bit era here. There wasn't much else to compare it to, and back then it was actually quite cool. Now, I don't know how much you folks know about these classic RPGs, but you would roll characters, and what rolling characters is essentially is rolling the dice. You would leave and come back into this screen, and it would give you a different set of stats. Now, based on this set of stats, you actually would generate different classes that you were actually able to pick. So sometimes, in your character creation screen, it was completely random. I, Korok the Mysterious, authored this history of the world called Kron. Ages ago, the 4 elemental lords convened the void that separated their domains, while the other 3 bickered. Aqualander, the Water King, flooded the void with a vast sea. The other elemental lords watched from their corners and grew jealous, each thinking that they should rule the center. 2 of them, Shawin the Air Tyrant and Pinus the Monarch, invaded the sea. Then the Earth Emperor Growlcore the Cruel and his minions struck, and the war turned in their favor. But Galcor foresaw this, and his minions merged to form a great continent. Water could soak it, but not sink it. Fire could crack it, but not crumble it. Air could carry it away as dust, but the dust returned to the greater mass. Growlcore fought back, but the humanoid spells destroyed his minions. To defeat Growlcore himself, the most powerful humanoid spellcasters met on the Isle of the Ancients and created an orb of power and 4 talons to hold it. But tests were necessary to perfect the orb and talons, yet Growlcore unleashed his fury before they could even begin. The elemental forces banished, civilization began. Cologne became King Cologne, the conjurer, ruler of a golden age. People were happy and content. Cologne and the dragon met on the beautiful savannah of plenty, but the conjurer king was old now, and had only the orb, not the talons, for aid. Alas, it was enough.
John Van Canningham is a developer of Might and Magic. You could think of Canningham like you would think of Todd Howard at Bethesda or Lord British with Origin Systems. You would think a fantasy game would have a fantasy ending. Well, you're in for a big surprise because the Might and Magic series does also have a science fiction twist. This game really ends on an odd note. You are going through this huge, never-ending dungeon. It is hard, like most of the rest of this game. And all of a sudden, well look, spaceship, a vacuum tube, Kron is off course, a strong machine pulsates, collision imminent, enter an override code. What could this be? When I was younger, I really had no idea what this override code meant, or how to get it, or even how to solve the very strange space-like science fiction puzzle that follows. Might and Magic really had this wonder and captivation to it, and this was really a part of it, this science fiction storyline that's sort of baked into a fantasy genre. I'll even show on screen here what this preamble actually translates into, and it's essentially a modified version of a constitution, but for the people of Terra. I understand that this is a spoiler and some may have fast-forwarded past this, but I felt that it needed to be included because really the ending, to me, is the most memorable part of this game, in addition to the physical presence of the copy of the manual in the game itself. Look, this game is rough around the edges. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. When I picked it up and saw the box and had the nostalgia, it was great, but then when I loaded up the ROM and the emulation on my PSP to actually try the game out, I was not disappointed, but reminded of the ages and what the difference between now and then is in RPGs. Really, back then, RPGs were more about imagination versus about gameplay or wowing you with graphics or images. Your map was basically a stick figure looking map. You had a very basic text boxes, and really you had a very tiny screen of actual gameplay. And it really required an imagination to actually see a winterscape here, for example, in the background, or a castle there, or to see an actual dungeon where there's just these plain doors and simple things, and this barely animated forge here, this guy hitting the blacksmith, hitting the forge. I mean, it's a great game, but has it aged well? I can't say that it has. Combat is a mixed bag. They throw these ridiculous walls of enemies at you, and from the beginning the game's learning curve is so difficult that most people will be turned off by the initial combat in the modern era. You really want to play this game either with the original manual, if you can swing that, it's hard to find, or if you can't, you want to play it with a game FAQ or something else. Really playing this game any other way is not really something that you want to do in 2021. It was really hard to find advertising such as Phantasy Star was just a warm-up. But there was advertising for this game, and I can tell you that, for the most part, EA did not really promote this game at all. Most of us gamers found it from just looking on the shelf or asking our local game store. Now, there is a Dragon review from Dragon Magazine. So we're going to take a look at a couple of articles that were released in the media. And these are really cool because they're old issues. This is from Dragon Magazine from 1987. Now, you have to keep in mind, there's not really many Might and Magic Gates to Another World Genesis reviews. Mine is one of the only ones. And this is an article basically by Hartley and Patricia there that you see. And it was about the role of computers. And really, the mention of Might and Magic here is very brief. It was apparently released by Activision, and this is the Apple II version. This isn't even the version that is on the PC. This is an Apple II version. And reading through the article here, you basically just get the impression that they just mention that the game's out for Apple II. They talk about, some of the old games. They talk about John Van Kanagan, like we talked about earlier. They talk about the C64 128. They talk about things from this bygone era in this article, but it's really not much of a review per se. I'm not even really reading it to you here. You can pause the screen and read it yourself, but the reason for that is there's really not much to see in this article. This next article is Computer Gaming World, which is basically another article that released. And in Computer Gaming World, they had a spread here for Might and Magic, as you can see, that was pretty big. But this is also, ironically enough, this game made its biggest splash on the Apple. Its biggest splash was certainly not on the Sega Genesis, and that's why I made this video, because this is an underappreciated hidden gem that really needs to be looked at. I also left these screenshots on here a little bit longer, just for the fact that you can see that the graphics on this Apple version are years behind, literally and physically, the Sega Genesis version, which has no love really in the reviews. So what do I think about Might and Magic Gates to Another World in 2021? Well, I have to be honest, I can't really recommend playing it. By that I don't mean don't fire it up on an emulator and try it, or if a buddy's got a copy, pop it in and play it for a few minutes, but do I suggest that you play all 200 hours of this game in 2021? I really don't. Maybe play it through real quick with save states and an emulator. Would I play an original copy for 100 hours plus? If the graphics appeal to you, if the look appeals to you, there are games in the modern era that do look like this, but they don't appeal to me anymore. And going back to this, the graphical styling doesn't appeal to me anymore, and just the cornucopia of menus and numbers are great, but we have games that do this stuff much better now, and it's just really hard to go back to this. So for the modern factor, I give this game a 6 out of 10, and that's for its modern factor. Now, for its nostalgia factor, I do give this game a 10 out of 10, meaning when I played it back in the day, I enjoyed it to that 10 out of 10 level. The problem is this genre has evolved so much in the last 30 years that this game is just sort of left in the dust in the modern era. But if you have a itch to scratch with a computer-style RPG, you can't go wrong with this one. Want to thank my members of my Discord and everybody that watches the Mike Will Experiment, and the rest in these comments. Thank you so much to everybody who watches my channel. I hope you enjoyed this review of Might and Magic Gates to Another World for the Sega Genesis. Please consider joining our Patreon by visiting patreon.com/themikewill-experiment. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here today to review all 3 Resident Evil Cloud editions available on the Nintendo Switch. Let's get right into it, guys. First, I wanted to kind of show off my internet speed just to see, kind of what I'm dealing with here. Well, this is better than the last time I ran it. But it's kind of inconsistent, as you can see, which isn't the best environment necessarily for this. Hold on, let's refresh it and try it one more time here.
I just want to get a lock on a decent connection before we hit the button. Okay. So that's where we're at. As you can see, we're not holding. We're over what the minimum requirement should be for a decent experience here. So let's just see what happens. We're gonna turn this off for now, guys. So this is Resident Evil 2. Now, happy Halloween. Is, you know, the time this video is coming out is Halloween. Yeah, strongly flashing lights. Don't worry, we're not going to be playing long enough for any of that to happen. But what we're really trying to establish here is this playable? I have the environment to play this, okay? See? Over 300, late 200 should be great. You know. Again, it's fluctuating a little bit. I am live streaming from this machine, so the actual speed on that end should be higher. Hold on. There we go. What is happening? Why isn't... Oh, there it goes. I don't know why it was doing that to me. Okay. So, you know, I'm kind of trying to wait for a decent clip of internet. I'm really trying to give this the best chance that I can. Here, let me just interact with it and refresh it instead of doing that. So, because we're going to run this a few times until I'm comfortable with where it's at. Okay. Like I said, you have to remember, the Switch is hardwired right now. Okay. Just this inconsistency with the internet connection has me worried, but it could very well be because we're in this game. It just has me a little bit worried, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. You know, like I said, it's a little inconsistent, which is a concern. But again, this could be because we're logged in. Before we actually got in, we were, you know, at 300. Okay. So, anyway, we'll keep taking a look at that as we go. Okay. No. The intro screen looks nice. Now, I don't know what this is outputting to the TV at. I have no idea. Okay. Okay. Actually isn't too terrible. I mean, the graphics are pretty...
Is anybody here?
They look like smeared. I'd say the graphics, it looks like on my 4K TV. I don't know how it looks on the stream, but on my 4K TV it looks, well, not the best. But it's actually running pretty good, which is, you know, keep in mind we are in docked mode with an OLED dock that has a network attachment. So you can also buy one and plug it into the USB if you don't have one. Actually, I'm kind of surprised that this is working fairly well. They don't tend to work very well in handheld mode for sure, so I think really my biggest takeaway from this will probably be that if you want to play this, it has to be on your TV and you have to be docked with it plugged in to a WAN connection. Yeah.
I gotta find that guy.
Yeah. Let me turn down. This is gonna cause some feedback. Let me just. Okay. All right. You know, there's a lot of artifacting. I mean, that's what I will say. There's a lot of artifacting in the image. So, I mean, yeah, you're playing this game, but are you really playing it? I mean, I would much rather play this on an Xbox or something. I mean, if the Switch is all you had and you wanted to experience this game, I guess, but it's, you know, you're also at the mercy of this connection giving out at any time, which is, you know. Can I shoot anything? I was just trying to get a feel for how the combat would play out. I mean, it's playable-ish. The image quality is not great. That was one thing I will say about things like Stadia. It did have better image quality. Reminds me of Skyrim. This remake is really cool, though. I have not played it. I mean, you know, it looks better than a Switch game could look if it was not on the cloud. That's a thing. So I mean, you know. There's so many better ways to play. Maybe the Switch was all you had, but I don't know, man. I feel like there's gonna be a jump scare here, and I'm gonna pee my pants. I didn't think the game was gonna be scary in the cloud, but okay. So I'm not gonna buy it, obviously, but that actually played. I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10. It played okay. You know, this is, of course, you know, assuming you have the same internet connection that I do, and assuming that you're plugged into your OLED dock like I am. Let's just run this again before we jump back in. We look like we're doing okay here. It's not relevant to run it, I find, after we're logged in, because it's trying to pull all your internet. But there we go. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and hit Resident Evil 3. So if you want to buy it, then that's your choice. You know, you're able to buy it. But we're not buying any of them. I'd much rather get it on the Xbox. So we're just really seeing if it's playable. They don't really let you get to the meat of any of the gameplay, which, you know, that's fine. Okay. Yes. So we're not going to get far enough into the game for any of that, but that's fine. Look at the privacy policy. I did not mean to do that. Bye. Okay. Again, the intro screen looks kind of cool. Alright. I mean, fair enough. This looks okay. You know, I would say if you play these dock plugged into internet, you probably could play it, but it's, you know, it doesn't work in handheld at all. In my testing, even the menus lag in handheld, so I just really don't know. You know, I mean, I feel like there's just better ways to play, you know, after plugging in and playing it this way. It's clear that this is how they intend you to play it, but it's not really spelled out in the description as far as I can tell. So they also don't let you play for very long, so it's like, I have a feeling once things get hectic, it's going to get hard to control. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I'm only playing till the end of the demo for each of these games, but... Yes, of course. This is working pretty well. I mean, it's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be, I will say that. I mean, where you start to notice is there's some artifacting. Like, you'll see it. It's probably a little harder to see on the video here because I'm not running it at 4K, but on my 4K TV, it's very, very artifacty. The frame rate's a little... It's not nauseating, but it's also, like, not comfortable. So I think over a long period of time, you probably... Oh, is this it? This is all they're going to let you do. And they don't even let you get into combat. It just doesn't seem like... I mean, you can... It works. But if I can't test my metal against a zombie, how am I supposed to know if I can do it? I don't know, man. I still feel like... I mean, look at this. It looks great. I just still feel like, you know, if this is your only option, maybe. But if there's literally any other way to play this, PC, Xbox, PS4, do that. Yeah, basically, they limited this one differently. They just left this game, like, in limbo here. Instead of giving you a time limit, they just are like, hey, by the way, you can't shoot these guys. So, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's it. So, that's it for the second demo. I mean, I will say that it's, you know, it seems to be running fine. It's fairly responsive. You know, keep in mind that I'm plugged in with a fairly good internet connection. The Switch is plugged in. So keep that in mind too. But I mean, look at this lighting. It's not something you would see on the Switch. So it's kind of interesting, you know. Oh, maybe there is more demo. Okay, it just wasn't going the right way. I definitely recommend downloading the demo if you're interested, though, just to get a feel. You know, see if it works on your connection. Make sure you're plugged in. Either get an adapter from like Office Depot or your local computer shop or wherever. It's a little choppy, man. Not gonna lie. If I actually get to do some combat here? Oh, look at that. Ugh. Yeah, it's kind of hard to... Well, that gun is useless. Okay. So at least they let you get into a little combat there. So, you know, it's ended. That's that demo. Lastly, we're going to do Resident Evil Village. This is the one that ran especially like crap when I tried it in handheld mode. Yeah. And so we're going to try this game at last. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I didn't already burn through my chance on this game. I can't remember. So yeah, I mean, this is a way to play these games, but I just don't know that it's the way I would ever prefer to play these games. So, you know, it just depends. Yeah, I notice the video is dropping frames too. We'll see how that comes out, but I think it's just because so much of the connection is getting used. This game is currently in development. Yeah. Yep, and then let's run this just to see where we're at. Okay. Seems like we're probably gonna be fine. Yep. Okay. Now what's funny is it's not lagging in the menu like it was before, but that's probably a better sign. I'm a filthy Resident Evil casual, apparently. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, more of the same, really. It's you know, not bad. This one is a little floatier than the other two, but I don't know if that's just because that's just how it is. And this is kind of creepy, I guess. Oh, there we go. I feel like you don't get to fight in this, probably. Oh my god. I know you're just not really immersed in this because it's so bad, but... Why does that thing have a sword, though? Look at the smoke come off the gun. Oh, snap. Please don't kill me, man. Oh my god. This game does not play around, dude. Shank this fool, man. And I was able to get through that fight. And that is a fair, probably, assessment of, okay. I mean, it could be worse. Some herbs. Whatever that is. What's in here? Yeah, I mean, it's doable, but it's just like not that fun. And I think this game is probably pretty good, but it's just it's not the best. Flashlight? Or a pipe bomb. Yeah, I don't really care about that. Come on, this demo's gotta almost be over. This game's pretty creepy. I would. Ah! Hello, shotgun. Where have you been all my life? I'm good. I'm just mostly trying not to die. Come on, man. I seriously have no fracking ammo. This guy's a big old machete. I'm gonna win this fight against this guy with this big old machete. It just doesn't seem realistic. But I guess that's what we're doing. What? There's nothing special in here, man. Oh, that's cool. This game is definitely pretty decent. I like it better than the remake so far, just because it's more like a modern game. Those games didn't have tank controls. Why are there bees? Or moths, or whatever those things are. Jiminy Christmas, man. Holy crap, dude. Can I not do any damage to this thing? I'm assuming not. This is working pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. This is really creepy though. Well, thank God for that, because I'd had about enough. But let me know what you guys think. Have you played cloud games? That was probably my best experience. I was actually able to play through that game quite well. But the reason is because I had a good internet connection, in you know, cooperation with being plugged into the Switch somehow, either through the OLED dock or through something that you purchase. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope y'all have a great day. Welcome back to another review on the Mike Will Experiment. This time for the Pinball Wizard, we're doing eShop reviews. This is another game it's not super cheap. I think it's like $7.49. It's not like $1.99 or something. I did the last two videos I did were $1.99 reviews. Check those out. If you're on a budget, you're bored. Hidden atop the great tower, the Eye sat upon a pedestal of endless energy. For thousands of years, there was only peace. You can't see him, but I'm holding up the peace sign. But Father Time takes his toll. Ancient and crumbling, the tower shifted. The Eye tumbled from the pedestal onto the tower floor. Its energy source now lost. It blinked and closed. The lands fell into chaos. Many brave women and men have attempted to enter the tower and restore the power of the Eye. None have ever returned. This is your destiny, young apprentice. Ascend the tower, restore the Eye, Poison Eye, and return these lands to peace. Such beautiful writing. Hopefully these people know how to make a game not 10 frames a second, so that would be great. Okay, flippers. Okay, right on. Okay. This is cool so far. Finish off the slime. Whoops. Why do I need to hit a person that can walk up on their own record, though? It does beg the question. Okay, there we go. Dang, this game seems kind of tight, guys. I'm not going to lie. Why I grabbed it. Okay. I mean, why can't I just have him go walk out the door, man? There we go. I could see this game getting frustrating, you know, because it seems like you have to... It's kind of annoying to have to pinball the guy around, but... yeah, I mean... Alright. It's a $7 game, you know, let's not get too out of control. Likely an indie dev. Okay, looks like the barrels do something. I don't know how I feel about him walking. Can he roll or something? This is where I am having a problem with this. You know, I like the concept, but I think they missed an opportunity just to have him roll into a dang ball like he's walking. Why not have him just turn into a ball when he's in the field, and then it would play like an actual pinball game? I don't really understand. I would love to interview these guys and ask them, like, what the heck were you thinking when you made the guy walk? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I guess the angle is so extreme that it forces him to walk in a downhill. I don't really get it. It's very slick though. The control's very good. It's just sort of weird that he walks. I don't know if I can get past it, but we'll try. Yeah, pace is picking up a little bit though. I mean, as long as maybe he just goes faster as you go and it's not as annoying as it is in the beginning or something. You have hit points and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, I have to play this till I can get a score, and I'm not there yet. That's kind of how these eShop reviews are. You know, the games you don't need to play for hours on end, but I play them till I can safely say, unless there's you know, tons more than what I've seen, this is my score. You know, and with this game, you get what you get. It's a pinball game, so I don't feel like there'll be. We got the key, which we needed. And it's like, I mean, I guess, you know, if it's like a big pinball table, so you have to, like, get your way out, but I find that kind of be annoying. Like, it's like, I'm done with this, like, section, can't I just get out of this room, you know? But you can't, because you have to, like, and I guess the point is so you can gather all of these, like, score-providing things, but it's still just kind of like, it doesn't feel like it has much of a point to it. We'll see if things get different. I'm trying to give it a chance. So I really feel like I've seen enough so I can be, you know, I like to be fair. Unfortunately, I just haven't seen enough yet. It has potential. But it mostly seems kind of tedious. So that's really all I'm getting from it so far. And we have a second table up here now. That's interesting. Okay. Nice. So we got through that pretty quickly. I guess, you know, with a little bit of luck, you don't quite... You know, a little bit of luck goes a long way, I guess, in a game like this. But, you know, it's okay. I mean, if this is all there is to it, I'm just kind of like... You know, I was hoping for something more when I saw it on the eShop, I guess. And again, you know, the price is very... I mean, you're gonna, if you think if this looks appealing to you, go ahead and buy it, because I think you'll get the money's worth. But if you're like, have the same complaints that I do, you probably want to hold off until there's like $1 sale or something, or it's like $2. Oh, I died. So what happens when you die? Oh, is it a roguelite? I think that's what it is. Okay. That's the gimmick here. Okay, it's a roguelite. Alright. And it looks like you level your character up. Okay. My issue is I just don't think the core gameplay is appealing enough. That's my problem. But let's see what else is available. So, okay, there's skill upgrades. How does that work? Oh, I can already do that, so we'll definitely do that. We'll test an upgrade. That'll be good. Daily dungeon. Okay, so you gotta get floor 5. We should probably do that. If we can. It looks like there's scores here. Okay. Shoot. Dropped my mic. It's all good, man. We're still alive here. Let's see here. And we're one take Jake in these, so it's just you're gonna hear the mic drop. Maybe I'll make a short out of that because it'll be embarrassing. Yeah, so I don't really get, these are just made up names, I think. Select a floor to begin. Ah, okay. No, it's not roguelite. Okay. It's not roguelite. Because if it was roguelite, you would start back from 1. Okay. I think that works to this game's favor. I don't think this game is replayable enough to be roguelite. I was really worried for a second. Press and hold the dash. Okay. See, that will feel more like Control, at least. Oh, okay. See, that's kind of cool. You can actually kind of... So it looks like you do unlock some mechanics as you go, too. Which is pretty cool. Let's see if we can get past this one. Oh, that would be an easy way to get out. Okay. Those give you energy of some description. I just don't quite have my score in my head for this game yet. Started at 6, but it's kind of moving up, you know, as I see that the... You know, we start with 6, pretty much, because that's average. And then if it sucks more than that, it goes down. Like the last game I played was a 5, because it was like going down. The enjoyment decreased as I got further into the game, whereas with this game it's increasing, so that's good. With the Pro Controller, the triggers feel really nice. I'll say that. So I think that the development here is very well done. It looks like the Michael RPG artwork, actually, which is funny. So... That's my other YouTube channel, if you don't know what Michael RPG is, by the way. It's like only has like 38 subscribers, but the point is that this art style is almost identical to that. It's really kind of cute. It does appeal to me. It's really hard to go down the middle too, which is nice because, you know, I feel like it would be silly if this guy went down the middle when it's like he's walking. So the fact that you don't go down the middle really is, and I'm sure that happens, like just on some bum luck or something, but I don't feel like, there we go. I don't feel like the walking makes a little more sense in the context of it's hard to go down the middle. But my problem is like the level variety just isn't there yet. So I want to unlock the daily dungeon and see what that's about before I, you know, I think I know where I've landed on this game, but I do need to see the other content just to be fair to it and see if there's some, you know, variations and stuff. Go. Oh, schnit. Okay, you apparently can, but it doesn't, I guess you just, it only takes some of your health, which is kind of nice, to be honest. There we go. Get it! Come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I like it, but it's just, I don't know if this is enough. You know, does it change? And you get far enough to see if the world changes at all. Like, it's the same purple, and I like that art style, but it's like, is there any variety? You know, that's would be my concern. That was a nice snag. And I think it's rounded like that so that you can do that. Interesting. That'd have been instantly out if it wasn't a keyed door. But it's definitely a keyed door. And so this makes it easier because you're not having to rely solely on the flippers to move, which you shouldn't have to, being that he has feet. That was the part that was kind of making me irritated at the beginning. But once they went, oh, okay, once you unlock a skill, you can use his feet. And it's like, okay, I mean, granted, you're not going to be able to use them the whole time or whatever, but it's like... I just feel... That's a little closer. I just feel like if you have feet, like you should be able to run on occasion and then, you know, make it... So you should be able to boost like that and make a difference in your... And maybe that's a little, like, faster than the average person runs, mind you, but... It's a video game, so that's fine. No! But see, you only lose a portion of your health instead of, there we go. No! What the frack? Guys are gonna drive me nuts. It's, I don't know if that makes it fun. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure about it yet. God dang it. There we go. Why isn't it letting me go out? That's really stupid. I don't know, man. I'm not really feeling that. Oh, it let me up? Okay. Oh, I guess when the timer expires, you automatically leave. Okay. I mean, what? Okay. I don't know. This game could have been really cool, and I just feel like they kind of blew it, to be honest. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt and make sure I play enough of it, but I think they blew it with this game. There's a lot of potential here. You know, it's got this roguelite menu system, but it's not a roguelite game, so it sort of is like a bait and switch in that sense. You're like, oh, okay, maybe it's roguelite, and then no, it's just levels that you unlock like a mobile game. We unlock this game. We're gonna try the daily dungeon and just see. I think it's probably just I think it's just probably more of the same. I can only imagine, but I don't see. I mean, there's just like the same 4 enemies. It's not really that guy in the middle there, the Toadstool Mario ripoff thing. We saw that already too. Yeah, the mic drops are for how terrible this game is. Honestly, it's just not very good. I wanted to like this game. I was excited when I saw it on the eShop, but man, I'm just not. It's just not working for me, you guys. I just don't know. I'm just very ambivalent about this game, you guys. If it looks cool to you, I guess pick it up. It's pretty cheap, but I would wait. I mean, to me, this game is worth maybe $2 max. It's not worth $7. So that's the dungeon, not a just a bigger table. I mean, okay, but it's all the same assets. It's all the same, you know, it's all the same looking stuff. And maybe eventually you open up some new assets, but like to have the same assets through 7 levels like that, it's just like, no. I mean, no. You know, it's just, yeah, you can unlock these skills, but who cares, you know? I wanted this game to be cool. I'm sure it's a small development team, and they tried their hardest, and I'm sure that, you know, Frosty Pop did their best here, but my suggestion is, you know, more variety. I mean, just for the first 7 or so tables, then I get into the dungeon and all still looks the same. It's like, maybe that style and theme only changes after it, but even then it's like the variety within that theme is so limited. So I'm going to give the Pinball Wizard for Nintendo Switch a 5 out of 10. So this game is, you know, very average, a little below average to me though. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and more reviews on the way for the eShop, and I hope y'all are having a great day. Welcome back and happy Halloween to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here today to play a game called Halloween Shooter. It looks like a mobile game. Oh, it's pretty slick though. Whoa! This game is $1.99 on the eShop. Can you blow up the... Can you not move up or down? Oh, weird. You have to be at like this angle. Okay, you just can't. It's forcing you to be. Alright. Alright. Dude, this game is a little on the closet. Okay. My guy. Okay. So I guess there's some... Huh. It's like killing floor or something? Is that what they're going for here? I'm not exactly sure. Okay. Some bullets. Yeah, I mean, this is almost like something you could make in Game Builder Garage. I'm going to be honest. It's not... You know, the fact that you don't have 360-degree motion is troubling. I have to admit. Like, I can't actually look down or up. Which is, you know... Is it roguelite? Guess we'll find out. Go till we die. Shop. Oh yeah, this is like Killing Floor, kinda. Or like Killing Floor meets Doom. Something like that. Okay, interesting. Because that's what Killing Floor is, you find safe rooms and then... Alright, well... I mean, that's a cool idea. You rescue people, which is interesting. It's a little claustrophobic for me, I'll be honest. I'm playing it for your guys' benefit, but I probably wouldn't last long. Just the low ceiling makes me kind of a little nauseous. But we're going to at least see what this is about. Turn off the flashing lights, at least. That would have made it even worse. Turn that off if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, always, because it can be... Is it... This arrow's pointing this way. Okay. Well, sorry, man. Jeez. Okay. Oh, there's a white door up top. Okay, I was like, where the hell am I going? I have to go all the way to the top. Is this it? Yes. Is that everybody? What? Huh? What does this do? This is the shop, right? Oh no, that's something else. That's a switch. Ah, okay. Yeah, this is just a recipe for nausea because, like, as you're turning, you're not really getting any break from there just being stuff in your vision path. So I think that's kind of how Killing Floor is too. This is even more claustrophobic than that. Which, you know... Ooh, there's a hat. Ooh, look at the frame rate on that halberd. It's not good, man. It's not good. It's not good at all. That frame rate is what I would call bad, in fact. Smoking those things, though. Ooh, this is creepy. Okay, so yeah, that's a floor. So basically you know, sorry guys, this one makes me a little nauseous, so I would cautious you. If you're sensitive to frame rate and like claustrophobic type spaces, I would avoid this one. It's just a little hard on the eyes in that regard. But I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. You know, it's not the worst game I've ever played by any means. For what it is, we're going with 5 out of 10. You know, it could be, you know, it's super cheap. You know, it's based on it being so cheap. You know, would you get that money out of it? Sure, as long as those things that I mentioned don't bother you. So I would say it's a little below average. 6 is average, so we're going to go with 5. But I hope y'all enjoyed this review, and I hope y'all have a great day. Have a good one. Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment. I am here to do a Call of Juarez port review. Now, this game actually is $1.99 on the eShop, and this game is pretty interesting. I will just do new game. You know, I did try this out prior to this review a little bit. I will say it's you know, it does not play well in handheld mode, so I was hoping that maybe it plays a little better in docked mode, so that's why we're doing this. The load times are not great. There it goes. Abilene, Kansas, 1910. Now, this game, like I said, it is on sale for $1.99. It's currently the #1 thing listed under great deals on the eShop, so you probably will come across it in your online eShop searching.
Silas Grease? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
I used to be.
What are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through.
Okay, we're gonna skip this, guys, because you know
To take care of.
it's not
Well, sir.
horribly interesting. My issue with this so far from playing it in handheld was that the frame rate is really bad and appears to be sub 30. There are no options, and I'll show you guys in a second here. There are no options to really, if you're sensitive to frame rates, I would avoid this in handheld. We're gonna see, you know, if it works okay in docked mode. That's really what this is about. I already know it doesn't work so good in handheld, so I wanted to see if a little bit of the extra processing power, again, more, oh, they're not going to let me skip this. Okay, so, oh, they're going to let me, okay, here's the options. So, as you can see, there's no way, you know, to set a performance mode, or, you know, something like that. Excuse me. It would have been a lot better to do it that way, I think. You know, to have a performance mode and just turn some of the things down. But unfortunately, that's not what we got here.
I threw in with the kid because
Now, the border on the screen is way less annoying when it's not in handheld mode. I will say that. That was bugging me, that striated, distressed border on the outside there.
I was heading back to the hideout.
Also, the game appears to run better docked, it looks like. So that's good news.
Oh, Steve.
So I'm actually pretty happy so far with how it's running in docked. Much more smooth and fluid, much better frame pacing, way less nauseating. So if you're gonna play this game, guys, it is, like I said, it is $1.99. So you know, it's an Xbox 360 era game. You know, you're gonna want to keep that in mind.
I had no choice.
You know, it's certainly not something that, you know, that's gonna blow you away by any stretch of the imagination. No pun intended. This is way more playable docked than in handheld. I will say that, like 90% more playable. I could not play it. I was so ill after like 5 minutes. I couldn't even. You know, this is playable at least. It's not ideal, you know. I prefer to play a shooter at 60 FPS, and this is just a locked 30. It's a good-looking 30 though, much better. The graphics are also much better docked. It's a pretty jarring difference actually. So, you know, I was gonna come into this video saying I don't recommend this game at all, but I'm gonna say now that if you think it looks cool, I recommend it docked. For $2. I mean, you gotta think the game is $2, so we're not talking, you know. Could you get $2 of entertainment out of this docked? I think so. Or, you know, if it was a game that you enjoyed in your past, you might already have it, but, or you might have bought it for full price. But man, docked or handheld is just not. And I have the OLED too, so it really brings out You know, see, this is a little sluggish here. But I'm just basically gonna play through this scene, you guys, and to kind of just show you. I might die, but again, as you can see, it's kind of framey. It's not, you know, this is a pretty locked 30, but it's also pretty framey. It's just sort of, you know, if you're sensitive to frame rates, I probably would avoid it unless you plan on playing it docked like this. Okay, that's just the. This is a hard fight. Oh, nice. Yeah, they're right off the bat making it difficult, man. Yeah, come out. Pull up. Okay, that's a nice little detail. I was wondering if you could actually shoot the destructible objects is cool. Hiding from me, man. If by putting you down you mean not putting me down at all, then maybe. Hopefully no one figures out that they can ambush me on the other side. Shoot, where are the rest of them? Okay then. I'm playing till I die, so I don't know how long that's gonna take, but probably not that long. Oh, loots. I didn't know that loot existed in this game. Oh, A to duck. That would be useful, yes. The game's like, hey, you can press A, you know. Gotta figure out where it wants me to go here. Can I jump the fence or anything? Not really. Where, pray tell, do I go? Alright, this way maybe? Don't know exactly what they're looking for here. This is another thing. I mean, you know, you're just really limited to where you can go. It's like you're like gated in. It's one of those games. It's like looks like an open world game or something, but you're like severely limited as to what you can do. I feel like there must be somebody, because I think these are just sets. I feel like I'm just missing somebody who's gonna hop out and kill me probably. So I'm not seeing anywhere to go from here. Yeah, so I can't, it's not letting me through here. Not sure exactly where they want me to go. Maybe just not that direction. But yeah, this still makes me a little nauseous, man. I just think there's probably better ways to play this game, if I'm honest. I don't know really where they want me to go here. They don't want me to backtrack. I'm not sure exactly what the mission is here. Okay, so there's just... Ah, okay, there's just someone still there. That's what I suspected. Where is this person at? In here? Oh my gosh. Look at that, it won't even let you... Oh my goodness. Oh, then does it reset it? Oh no, okay, so this has been Call of Juarez, guys, but I'm gonna say, I'm gonna give this port about a 4 out of 10, guys. It's not the best. It's only $1.99, so you might want to pick it up, but I hope y'all are having a great day. Stay tuned for more videos.
Welcome back to the Mike Will Experiment, everybody. I am here today to deliver my review of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit for the Nintendo Switch. If you're new to the channel, the Mike Will Experiment is a first and third party Nintendo gaming vlog channel. We do cover collectibles. We do cover thrift pickups. This is something you're interested in, please like and subscribe to the channel. However, this is a review today. We do also do reviews. So I'm here. You can see I am unboxing the product. So I'm just going to kind of, so this is basically the setup. Honestly, it's really fast. The only thing I had trouble with was figuring out how to put the gates down initially, but once you figure it out, they're really easy to take both out and they are easy to fold out and easy to put back in the box to transport both the cart and your system around. Here's some gameplay. We were doing some gameplay at my office here. You can see little team building activity here where basically, this is kind of some of the sort of like shots of the action here. But I wanted to talk about what I like about this game, because I don't go over too many things in the review, because I'm playing it live. This game is so cool. I've been a fan of Mario Kart forever, but this, bringing it into the real world, the footage you're seeing here, I believe, is the 200cc footage. So you can kind of see that. But the way it controls is so intuitive. There are tons of things to unlock. There are tons of radio stations to unlock that play different music, something new to Mario Kart altogether. I don't think they've had, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think radio stations have been a part of Mario Kart in the past. I could be wrong about that, but so I just really enjoyed this game, and I wanted to give a little extra commentary. It is very well made. It controls flawlessly. If you have a big space like this, 200cc is a blast. It's absolutely blazing fast, especially when you get the bullet bill and the mushrooms. And you can kind of see here as the cart goes around, that was the end of a race there. Here's 200, and I know this is 200cc because I got close. So you can kind of see it's definitely fast. You know, I really wanted to give kind of a little bit more of a... There's one of my buddies there. I think he was resetting the cart there. So, you know, we're just kind of... There we go. There it goes. Just kind of getting some shots of the cart. It's very cool. You know, there is a time trial mode. You've got, as far as modes go, you've got the cup mode. Time trial is super fun because you're literally trying to beat like your times that you just did in real life. So it's like, and you know, you get to the point where it's harder to beat, and you have to be so accurate, just like you do in a regular Mario Kart game. Obviously, this doesn't have the depth of a Mario Kart 8. But believe me, once you play it, you won't care. The car itself is very cool also. Here's a little bit more footage of what it looks like on the screen. This is in handheld mode, so I wanted to get some handheld footage. You can see my atomic purple Joy-Con there. Very, very, very classy. So you can kind of see here, you know, showing that, you know, this is that same course that you just saw, but the ground view of that course.
There's a little fuel gauge
so... pretty awesome stuff here. I, you know, really don't have any complaints. This product, as I said in my live review, is a 10 out of 10, and I, you know, taking some time to think about it and further assessing it, I really don't see that being untrue at all. I feel like this product is a solid, just a really amazing piece of Nintendo magic. So I feel like if I wouldn't pay the inflated prices for this. It is an expensive collectible right now. You know, it is a collectible and a game, which is an interesting conundrum. I will be bleeping out some of the names and stuff on here, school names, just because I don't want that information to get out there. So I'll be just showing the cart. So if you see stuff on the screen, I'm just blocking out stuff. So here's another. This looks like, this looks like it's in maybe Explore mode. I think this is when we're like recreating the course. I just wanted to show different gameplay elements here. I wanted to show it in two different environments also.
Welcome back, everybody.
Now, on to our live coverage.
Here. I was going to do a voiced over video for my review of Mario Kart Tour. But I'm going to actually I want the ambient noise for this video. So we're going to do a little bit differently. I want you guys to be able to hear and see that the cat's out. I got my cart ready. Oh, I'm going to have to go hit the ignition on it though. Hold on one
So yeah, I wanted to do just a live review of this. I think that's the best way to do a review for this title. It's all about the physical items and the live aspect to it. So it's gonna be a pretty, short review. We might do 2 races and just kind of a wrap up and give our thoughts at the end. So I have played enough of this. There's not a lot to it in the sense of, yes, there's other courses, but in reality, you're pretty limited overall on what you do. So, oh, I have to ignite the cart. Be right back. Set up this arrow. There you go. I heard something. Okay. Alright, we're going to do pro single player. Okay, so yeah, everything's working. Hambone has discovered the toy. Hi, buddy. Ah, the evil cat's chasing me. Oh no. Oh no. Anyway, let's start the race here. That was just a practice little. I am Baloon. Hey, Baloon. There we go. We do a Grand Prix. I don't want to hurt the cats here, so we're going to do 50 cc's. I know that you could actually hurt the cats, but you know. This is great. Oh, I have to make the course again? That's annoying. Well, here we go. I'm watching my cats follow this around and it's joyous. Cheetah, you're in my way. Oh crap. Oh man, you guys are seeing this good. I tried to give you as much of the view of the TV as I could. Okay, so now we're back at gate 1, and here's the course. Should be the dog leg that we made before. Yep. It surprisingly looks actually like a real course. I was pretty impressed with myself. It looks like something you'd see, like a picture of a course in a real game. There we go. Alright, so we're ready to get in. So race number 1. So we'll do 2 races. Here they come! There goes Hambone. Hambone's chasing it right now. Hambone's my black kitty. Other kitty's name is Chitara. So I'm trying to talk loud enough so you guys can hear me. The camera's not super close to me. If this sucks, I may end up doing a voiceover anyway. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. Oh, cat! Oh. Sweet cats! Good Lord, man! Good Lord! Oh, man. Oh, shit! This is great. I'm not going to win any of these races, but I just don't care. I have too many. I'm on like Dark Souls mode for Mario Kart with these cats. Yeah, boy. Hi, Cheetah. There you go.
Oh, I got this bullet bill though. What do you know about this bullet bill? What do you know about this bullet bill? What do you know about this bullet bill? Bang! Oh shoot! Getting this race, I forget I'm actually playing in my house. It's so weird to get into. It feels like Mario Kart. It's so weird. It's really cool though. Sorry guys, I'm trying to win a race here. Oh, Hammy, look out! Look out, I have the bomb, Hammy. Oh, shoot. He's taken to just watching now. He's not quite sure what's going on. Yeah, boy, what did I finish? Yeah. Oh man. With these cats, it's tough. It's real tough. I won a race earlier without the cats, but the cats definitely add an element of danger for sure. Hope you guys are enjoying this. It's Mike Will Experiment footage of Mario Kart Live Circuit Tour. This is our official video review. I don't know if you can tell, but I really am rather enjoying it. Oh, it's the water level. It's an unbelievable product. I'll be doing some testing elsewhere too with a little bit more space. So I really want to see the 200cc. You can't really do that in a house. It's just not. 50cc is all you ever really want to do. This track feels really good at 50cc, but it would not be balanced for 100cc. I can definitely promise you that. Here we go. Gotta dodge the cat. Oh, what item did I get? Oh shit, that's not right. Ooh, water makes it tough to see. Sorry, Hammy. Oh, there we go. There's my big guy. Hi, big guy. Oh, no. He knocked you around for no good reason. Oh, slow it down. Look out, Hammy. Is that your tail? Sorry, buddy. There probably is no cats were harmed in the making of this video. There we go. He's pretty freaked out by this fact. This little mushrooms is anything for me with this course being able hitting the tripod of the camera. Okay. I really want to run over your tail. I couldn't see your tail. I didn't mean to run over it. It was just part of the damn decoration. Oh Lord. Oh, look out, tail, buddy, tail. Oh. Let's see if we can't pick up a little time here. This round is doing pretty well. That's the tripod. And you get better at the track, like, but that's the crazy part, at least to me, is that you built this random track in your house. And I will close my thoughts out here and give my score, but
and just some general thoughts. So you will, you kind of see my cat here celebrating with me. It's so awesome. Oh my god, it's so awesome. Like and subscribe to the channel, by the way. I just kind of want to go to like explore mode. Can I do that? No, I just want to put the race. There we go. I should take me to explore mode. Perfect. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about a couple of things with this game. I am home. So it is a real Mario Kart tour experience in your house, which is pretty cool. Is it perfect? No, but my score for this game is a 10 out of 10, and I will tell you why. Anytime a game makes a revolutionary change, this is a playable game. I mean, could they make it better? Sure. I mean, you know, something can always be better. But I will say that I feel that this game is, for what it's doing and what it's claiming to be, nails it 100%. 10 out of 10. I mean, look at this. I'm sitting here looking at my cat. You know, I mean, in a time in this world when things are, you know, most people are stressed and a lot of people are upset with each other, to be able to get together and play with this little cart and involve your animals and things like that, it's really a special. There's a Nintendo magic in this product that is amazing. Even for adults, you know, it may seem like it's geared towards kids. My wife had a blast with this. Anybody can have fun with this. You know, is it worth the $100? I mean, that's something you do have to decide for yourself. You know, for me, yes. And I wouldn't pay the $200 marked up fees or anything like that. Definitely wouldn't do that. You know, wait till you get it for, whoops, so you can get it for, so weird playing Mario Kart in your own house, but, you know, so you can get, let's see, I can drive under here and explore, you know, am I dusty under here? Oh crap, do I fit under there? It said alcohol, I do fit under there. This is my oven or something. It's kind of fun too to just explore your house with this cart. Kind of just, you know, you can even go off track a little bit here. We were playing with it earlier, and you know, it eventually will. Yep, so there you go. It'll eventually lose connection. But when you get that warning, you still have time to get your car out of there, which is cool. So when you get that warning, just back off. Yeah, you can kind of see, this is the house of the Mike Will experiment here. Just giving you guys my home tour while I collect coins. Yeah. And again, this is another cool feature. You know, this is great for YouTubers. You know, you can just kind of, you know, so if you guys want to see more videos, let me know in the comments below. I would be happy to do, you know, some 200cc video when I take that to another location. So, you know, please let me know in the comment section below. This has kind of been a live review. You know, I didn't talk about like the tracks and the unlockables, but you know, at the end of the day, they're minor things. You can unlock different costumes. You can see I'm wearing a hat here. But you know, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. But to me, I think the best way of doing the review is to just show the product, and that's kind of what we did here. Hi, Hambone. So I'll let Hambone close this out. He kind of looks like the dragon, toothless dragon from How to Train Your Dragon.